Hello, good, beautiful Sunday to everyone. We're live, guys. Am I able? Are you guys able to hear me? Okay, good. I think my net connection has some issues, but good, beautiful Sunday, everyone. Kong Hei Fat Choi. Happy Chinese New Year. Today is February 11th, Sunday. Of course, we're now in tune to your regular weekly weekend free training program, the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay at Iba Pa. Our topic for today at our free training portion will be about creating a culture of compassion in the workplace. And the facilitator of this training would be no other than one of our mentors here in the HR Cafe, Mr. Allan Cañete. Uh, Before we proceed to that free training program, of course, let me just introduce to you what the HR Cafe is. The HR Cafe program is an online free learning program that started at the height of the pandemic during 2020. This is actually an avenue where we would like to share HR updates, free trainings and learnings. So all of our HR leaders, HR professionals, HR students, and anyone who's willing to learn about HR and about workplace. The HR Cafe program is being aired live at the Philippines HR Group every Sunday at 3 p.m. And here at the HR Cafe, we discuss a lot of topics. We'll have our regular well quote for the week. We also be discussing the HR hot question for the week and also HR learning for the week. We also provide important news and updates. And as promised at the second part of the program, we'll be having our free training segment care of our guest speakers. And just to formally introduce who we are, my name is Coach Darwin Rivers. I'm the founder and president of the Philippines HR Group. Joining me today are our HR Cafe mentors or HR Cafe hosts. Let's start with Mentor Rona De Ferentino. Mentor Rona is the CEO of Crush Social Geekers. Mentor Rona, please say hi to our audience.
Hello, hello sa ating mga audience. Naku, isa na naman pong Sunday afternoon. Very fruitful Sunday afternoon na naman po ito. Huwag po nating kalimutan na ilagay sa ating comment section ang ating pong mga name para ma-shoutout naman kayo. At itag na rin po natin ang ating mga friends and colleagues para i-share ang learning for today. Coach Dor?
Thank you, Mentor Rona. And of course, Mentor Tina Coang, an operations and HR leader, well known for her content, tinainmanila.com. Mentor Tina, kumusta? Happy Chinese New Year.
Kong Hei Fat Choi to you, Coach Darwin, and to everyone who's watching the HR Cafe. Once again, we are here to offer you free learning. And maganda ngayon kasi we have our very own Sir Allan Cañete who will talk about compassion in the workplace, which is very important kasi malapit ng Valentine's. Maraming pagmamahal sa mga ating jowa, pero may pagmamahal din sa ating employer and employee, and we need to find the balance where. For anyone who's watching, please leave your name, where you are in the Philippines and otherwise, so we can give you a shout out to the show. Mentor Jamie, go.
Thank you so much, Mentor Tina. And gagalak po kami na makasama kayong lahat sa ating HR Cafe today and looking forward that we can share with you inspiring insights that definitely will help you in your day-to-day kumbaga operations and at the same time to lead, of course, the people that you have. So looking forward, makita namin ang inyong mga pangalan and at the same time, you can learn a lot from our HR Cafe program for today.
Of course, Mentor Jamie, can we announce it already? Mentor Jamie will be working in the US as the very first Filipina to work in the Disney cruise for as training and development director role. First Filipina to work in Disney on that Disney cruise. So we bid you good luck, but she will still be joining the HR Cafe to provide, of course, her global perspective about any issues here in the HR Cafe. And other mentors that we also have Mentor Jason Pichon. We also have mentors Oliver Riquelman, mentors Digel Lumakad, and mentor Ray Fremista, and mentors Bonnie Factor. Our co-mentors who won't be able to join us today, but they will be joining us at the next coming episodes of the HR Cafe. So, again, every start of the program, we started with our wow quote for the week. And for this particular episode 163, we've been doing this for almost 4 years. This wow quote for the week is coming from Brittany Forsyth. According to Brittany Forsyth, determine what behaviors and beliefs you value as a company and have everyone live through them. Let me just repeat this. Determine what behaviors and beliefs you value as a company and have everyone live through them. This is according to Brittany Forsyth. I believe she's referring to company culture. Mentor Jamie, what's your thoughts about this particular wow quote for the week for today?
For this wow quote of the week, I really can say, Coach Dar, and of course for the rest of the mentors and everyone, this is indeed true. As you will notice, all successful companies, locally and globally, they have a very clear, they have a very clear idea of what type of behaviors they want all the employees to have or to do whenever they offer their service, their products, globally or locally. So that is why they inculcate the types of mindset that they will have, and that means the core values. So once the company is very clear in the core values, it can be felt, it can be seen, it can be heard in everything that they do, especially starting from the leader or the executive leaders. So from the general manager, executive leaders, I'm a witness din nito at na-inspire ako sa kanila, especially when I was still, a member, and then bago din lang ako sa HR before. So sabi ko, okay, ganun pala ang isang company para maging successful. And it was really consistent from one company to another that I have actually worked. Nakita ko na kaya pala sila nagtatagumpay. It was because hindi lang siya poster sa wall or sa staff handbook na makikita, but this is the action that they would want, and makikita na yung core values nila from the leader, executive, senior, and everyone else. And na-imbibe sa kanila. Why? It was because inculcated siya doon sa training, sa leadership, at ang mga leader, hindi man perfect ang lahat, they actually walk the talk at clear din yung mga tools nila na ginagamit. So yes, indeed, once we determine what behaviors and beliefs we value as a company, then it will be easier for the employees, lalo na ang rank and file, to follow then. And of course, all the leaders and the company will be successful. Over to you,
Thank
Dar.
you, Mentor Jamie. Other mentors, Rona, what's your thought about this wow quote for the week?
Alam mo, gusto ko yung sinabi ni Mentor Jamie, na hindi lang ito basta poster na nasa wall. Kasi most companies, they have their corporate values, pero the values are just posters on the wall. And yung
Ang ganda
mga
pa ng mga
policy,
pictures, no?
oo, ang ganda pa ng
Ang
mga
lalaki, ang ganda
pictures.
ng pictures.
Pero 'di ba, yung practices nila are not actually aligned with whatever is in the world. Imagine mo, I came across one company na isa sa kanilang mga core value is flexibility and autonomy. Pero yung kanilang mga practices, Diyos ko, mas rigid pa sa pinaka-rigid na nakita mo. So 'di ba, hindi nila napa-practice yung kanilang mismong corporate values. And this is very important kasi if you go back doon kay McKinsey, 7S ni McKinsey when it comes to management, yung pinakagitna do sa 7S na yun is the shared value. And the shared value is dito nakakonect lahat yung iba pang mga S. And which basically, tells us na yung inyong mga processes, yung mga procedures nyo, who you're going to hire, how you're going to hire people, how you're going to take care of your people, all of these are actually should be anchored doon sa corporate values. But oftentimes, top management forget na dapat ito yung pinaghuhugutan natin. And sometimes, si tayo din, minsan sa HR, we have this idea of what we want to happen forgetting na dapat lahat ng ginagawa natin is first and foremost guided and anchored doon sa mga ano natin, corporate values natin. Even the people that we hire, dapat aligned yung values nila sa values ng organization. Otherwise, magkakaroon yan ng ano, kumbaga magbabangga palagi yung personal values mo at yung values ng company, hindi magmamatch. And then doon na ngayon magsisimula yung mga problema. So dapat yung mga values, yung corporate values natin, yung mga kung ano man yung mga behaviors and beliefs na meron yung company, kung ano yung mahalaga sa kanila, dapat clearly spelled out at alam natin at isinasabuhay natin at sinasabuhay ng bawat isang empleyado doon sa organization natin. We hire people who have the same values, same set of behavior, same set of beliefs, or people who can actually add to the behavior, add to the belief, add to the value. Instead of going after people na, alam mo yon, kung ano lang yung maisip natin or whatever is trending or whatever is our competitors are doing. Dapat yun, palagi nating iniisip yun. Mentor Tina, what about you? Ano masasabi mo kay Maring Britney Forsyth?
Before I start, I'd like to greet our early birds who have left comments on the chat box. We have Rachel, who is watching from Caloocan, Peach Lope, who is watching from Cavite. We have Jeff Egdani watching from Abu Dhabi, UAE. Cha Aguilar, happy Chinese New Year to all. Watching with my HR team from Pasig. Looking forward to today's topic of Alan Cañete. We also have people who is watching. We have Burley Alcantara, who's watching from Caloocan, and Maricris S. Vinluan, who is watching from Cebu. So for me, the best run companies are those whose employees, down from the head management up down to the rank and file, all share the same core values, beliefs, and strategic goals. Kasi a lot of people put VMO. In fact, ang dami nagtatanong, may workshop ba ng vision, mission, and objective? Because the company does not know which direction they want to place their employees in. Sabi ko, in the absence of a VMO or strong-willed leadership, the company will go to wherever the constituents want, which is everywhere. Which is why the strongest run companies or organizations are those where everyone believes in their product, everyone believes in the management styles, and everyone believes on what to do. When they talk to each other, they do not talk too much about each other. They talk about the products, services, their clients, their goals, on the way to reach those goals. And that is the reason why sometimes military organizations work best. Because when a military general gives a direction, everybody there is trained to march at the same beat, the same way, and the same time. And I think I get a lot of people hate the military kasi sabi nila, oh, people who are soldiers are thoughtless drones. They don't know where they're going. They just believe what management wants them to do. However, instead of looking at it in a bad way, we need to derive inspiration from how the military is run. You give an order, everybody follows, later on na, tsaka magtanong. Kasi sometimes, especially in critical moments like COVID, we shouldn't ask employees and everybody else in the organization what they want. In a moment of crisis or important moments in an organization, somebody has to make that decision and everybody else has to follow. And if you don't like to follow and you don't think it's the right fit for you, then change jobs. And if your management and people don't feel they are unhappy, they are not happy, they don't think that you don't think they're the right fit, change them because it's critical for companies to all move together, right? And that is when the most beautiful type of dance, acrobatic performances, or parades are made when everyone walks the same way. And I really believe that companies should not really be too democratic. You can listen to everyone, hear their opinions, but somebody has to make the right decision, which is sometimes the unpopular decision for the good of the company. How about you, Coach Darwin?
Ako, let me share this. My very first work was in a fast food chain, a donut company. I was a working student that time. I was a working
Mm.
student at that time, and I joined this fast food chain donut company in Green Hills. That time,
Mm.
ano lang, meron dalawang donut company sa Philippines. I won't mention the
Oo.
brand, pero sila yung magkalaban. And then,
Oo.
during training, our trainer, a Japanese, said that we would like to be number one because they're number one in Japan. They would like to be number one in the Philippines. And the way for them to be number one in the Philippines is for customers to realize that they guarantee freshness and they
Mm.
guarantee cleanliness. And you know what? That's the marching order for everyone from management up to the service crew. And I see it firsthand na ang donut ang shell life niya beyond 4 hours, wini-waste na namin
Mm.
ang mga
Mm.
ang mga vegetables na nilalagay sa mga sandwiches. If it's more than
Mm.
8 hours, it's already wasted. I mean,
Mm.
the company invites this wherein their goal is to be known as a company that gives freshness, guaranteed freshness and guaranteed clean. So they make sure that
Mm.
each and every employee knows that the product and the services should be aligned to those. And I'm sharing this because this particular company, I've witnessed how, from the services, how we make sure that the tables, the comfort rooms are very clean, the products
Mm.
are fresh. We make sure that we follow shelf life of each and every product. Ano yun it was something second nature to us because we
Mm.
imbibe that particular
Mm.
behavior during training because that's the value that we got during
Mm.
training. So I'm trying to say is, if your company has mission, vision, and goals, ano ba yung vision and
Mm.
mission and goals? How would you like to be known as an organization? Would you like to be known as an organization that has very, luxe item ba kayo? Very customer-oriented ba kayo? Very high-quality product ba kayo? Kasi if you need to decide, and from there on, your employees would also think and act that way. Kumbaga, they will be aligned. Everything will be anchored on the type of values, the type of behavior, and your overall culture. It will always be anchored to that. So everything that you do from management to rank and file, gagawin nila yan. And that's how I experienced it firsthand. I mean, fresh out of high school, I was working student in college, and nakita ko na kasi sa amin nga, ang donut, Diyos ko, kahit na kinabukasan nasa ref, kakainin ko pa yan. Pero dun sa store, talagang meron kaming parang timer na ito pag nag 4 hours to, i-waste na yan. At hindi yan pinamimigay, wini-waste talaga. Kasi we don't like to give products that are waste to mendicants or kumbaga kung mga people who would ask for food. Kasi if we're going to give them food, we're going to give them the same kind of quality that we serve our clients or customers. So that's how this particular company was well known. So I'm just sharing that because for me, again, living your values, living your behavior is something that you need to make a decision as part of leadership. Okay, so let's go to, meron bang puro mga agree naman yung comments sa comment section. So let's go to our very controversial HR question for the week. It was a hot topic last week, and I'm sure a lot of people gave their opinion. It was a trending topic, and this is a situation. An employee who identifies, this is a male, biologically male employee, identifies himself as a she or as a her. This person hasn't not yet undergone any biological change, but he dressed up as a girl and he thinks and identifies as a girl. And what she wanted is that she should be able to use the female's comfort room, the female sleeping quarters, and also she would like to be identified at their company ID as her chosen female name. The question was, what would HR do? Jamie, let's start with you, Mentor Jamie. Yeah, in your perspective, if you're the HR and you have this employee who's biologically male but lives, breathes, and feels that he is a female, and wanted this demands, what would be your action, or how would you take action on such request?
First and foremost talaga, napaka-controversial nito because a lot of people really would want, to feel inclusive, and that's what we're promoting. Ako, how will I approach it? First thing I will take a look at is, saan ba akong country or saang bansa yon. So, kung sa Philippines, syempre titingnan natin ano ba na pagkatapos ng country, titingnan natin din yung patakaran or yung company rules. Bakit ko sinabing country? Because I used to work 10 years in HR sa ayan, andiyan nakita ko si Jeff from Abu Dhabi. So, sa UAE. So, regardless na sa halimbawa in different countries, ang inclusivity, it means na we will address them by, diba, yung her, yung pronouns, plus of course yung sa dressing. Pag in other countries kasi yung perspective, ang mangunguna palagi is yung government rules. So yung pinakabayan, yung sasabayan. So it just happened in the Middle East or in the UAE, they try their best to be inclusive, but it just so happened na merong governing rule talaga na no cross-dressing. At kumbaga, remain pa rin kung ano yung male and female, napaka-strict rin nun. So ibig sabihin, if you have that gender preference before you even sign the contract, doon sa country or sa company na yun, you should know already. Because I have had like some employees then na who consulted me, who was in Dubai, and then ang sabing nag-cross-dressing kasi siya. Alam niyang hindi pwede mag-cross-dressing sa labas, pero sa TikTok niya, ayan, gusto ko na rin sabihin, social media naman niya, nag-cross-dressing siya, plus nandun siya sa property ng company. So takot na takot siya, baka ma-deport siya and everything. So she consulted sa akin, and then and I canceled her then. Sinabi ko naman na, sabi ko, you know that the rules of the company and is based from the country. So yun, anyway, binigyan ko siya ng counsel na please ensure if sinabi nilang take it down. Kasi ganun, property din ng company yon. So, how will I approach it? So, depende sa country. Siyempre, kapag sa bansang ganon, sa bansang Middle East, kailangan i-follow natin yung batas ng bansa, and then I will just simply have to explain to the person, at siyempre, tingnan din natin kung ano yung magagawa natin to make that person comfortable. Now, in the Philippines or like in the US din naman, kung inaalaw naman, kung ano yung binavalue ng company, kung aalaw ba natin yun na i-use halimbawa yung comfort room or gamitin yung sa pangalan, ginagamit na naman yon sa US. Like yung pronoun, ako din nung first time ko, nagpunta ako noon sa US, nakita ko, sabi ko, ano to? Kasi meron na, hindi ko nakikita yung sa Middle East. From Middle East, nagpunta ako ng US. So, nakita ko, may mga pronouns na sila. And then I asked, of course, my HR leader during that time. And then she said, yan yung preference nila. So, ginagamit na siya. I think that if the company that's their way for diversity and inclusion to be practiced, then definitely do that. Pero tingnan din natin yung limitation. So titingnan ko din as HR personnel, hanggang saan ba yung allowed pa lang ng company based from the values that we have. And kung wala naman limitation sa country rules or something mandatory, then let's see kung pwede pa ba natin to ma-move forward kung ano yung nire-request nila. Yung sa comfort room, tingnan natin kung ano bang capacity din ng halimbawa ng company. Payag, ano ba yung consensus? Kasi kailangan yung communicate, di ba? Na dapat hindi lang, kumbaga everyone will feel included,
Inclusive.
but at the same time, tingnan din yung post bago mag-implement para proper yung communication din natin, and everyone will be on board and knows, especially mga leaders, kailangan alam nila how they can communicate better for it. Sleeping quarters, at this point in time, again, rules din. Even in the US, they're very inclusive din sa when it comes to gender, pero sa sleeping quarters talagang nakaseparate pa din. At this point in time, yung male at female, and based pa rin doon sa biological, kumbaga yung yung biological, kumbaga legal gender. Pero again, as time passes by, tingnan niya lang din kung ano ang magiging decision ng company. Pag-uusapan na rin yan kung ako HR, tatanungin ko na rin yung aking kumbaga pinaka-higher ups, and kung meron pang HR team beyond sa akin, na halimbawa yung headquarters, yung leader ko as HR, let's see how we will move forward and how we will evolve to handle this to be more inclusive then for the employees, na without violating also the rights of others, and must be communicated very well.
Thank you, Mentor Jamie. Mentor Rona, from the BPO, IT, and other industries you've encountered, ano ang masasabi mo sa sitwasyong ito?
Actually, na-experience ko na 'to. Alam mo naman tayo sa BPO at sa mga IT companies, may mga nakakatrabaho tayo na member ng LGBTQ plus community. And tama yung sinabi ni ni Mentor Jamie. Siguro dadagdag ko rin na kung anong nature ng company. Kasi for example, in BPO and IT industry, walang ganong katinding problema. At least as far as my experience is concerned, mas open si BPO and si IT industry when it comes to topics such as this. But if you're working, for example, in a Catholic school, definitely, hindi tayo po pwede ng cross-dressing. Hindi
So,
tayo po pwede
work
ng
setting and industry would be
correct.
something that they would need to
Oo.
check.
You need
Okay.
to check. And yung mga gano'n, pag nandun kayo sa mga industries na alam nyo na very strict, very rigid, yung mga very traditional yung approach pa sa mga bagay, ang pinakamagandang gawin dyan is right from the start, bago pa nag-a-apply yung mga applicants, dapat na-relay out na ito, na-discuss na to during the interview itself. Now, as far as BPO and IT companies are concerned, ang nagiging challenge lang naman natin usually is one, dahil nasa loob tayo ng isang building, hindi naman tayo pwedeng basta-basta magpatayo ng isa pang CR just to cater to those na hindi sila comfortable with yung mga male CR, or yung hindi
Or
rin naman comfortable yung female CR. Di
or
ba?
minsan shared yung CR sa maraming companies, 'di ba? May common CR
Oo,
across
may
the
common
floor.
CR, correct.
Mhm.
Sa amin, and ito based on personal experience, I actually was able to work with a pre-op na trans person, and hin wala kasing siguro dahil na rin sa demographics noong aming company, walang reklamo yung mga girls if the person wanted to use the female CR. Kasi we know that she identifies as a female, and even yung kanya mga pronouns, it was not forced upon the employees, hindi niya pinagpilitan, but we always refer to her as her. We use her female name, we identify, we see her as female, pero of course pagdating sa records, naka-male pa rin. Kung ano pa rin yung kanyang legal name, dahil hindi naman pa siya nagpapapalit, yun pa rin yung ginagamit namin. But as far as CR is concerned, pwede siya sa babae na CR, walang problema sa amin. I think it all boils down to, meron bang nagrereklamo? Yun yung una yung tignan. Kasi kung nagrereklamo yung mga babae, I think they are seeing something na hindi okay, kaya sila nagrereklamo. But generally kasi, pag wala namang reklamo yung mga babae, hindi nila nararamdaman na may threat if a trans person is using yung CR that is meant for the female gender. So, sa amin yun, wala kami naging problema sa kanya. For sleeping quarters, yung tulad nga ng sinabi mo kanina at Coach Dar, di ba, nung off the air pa tayo. Medyo challenging lang siya kasi minsan ang hirap. Dalawa lang naman usually yung sleeping quarters. Hindi mo naman kaya magpatayo ng isa pang sleeping quarter. And ang nagiging concern doon is sometimes yung mga babae, hindi sila comfortable sleeping with someone na hindi naman sila sure, kahit pa sabihin natin she identifies as a girl, dahil pre-op pa ito, may possibility na hindi nila maramdaman na ganun ka-safe. Siguro, dapat nagkakaroon din tayo ng information dissemination about LGBTQ communities. Dapat nagkakaroon tayo ng understanding ng kung ano ba to. Kasi again, babalik kasi ako dun sa may nagrereklamo ba, and bakit sila nagrereklamo. Kasi kung nagrereklamo sila, ibig sabihin may nararamdaman silang iba, or hindi sila ganun ka-comfortable. Pag sinabi kasi nating inclusivity, hindi lang ibig sabihin nito, i-include natin at magpapander tayo for members of LGBTQ community, sacrificing the rights also of the female employees. So dapat pareho 'yon. We look at yung ating LGBTQ members, and we also look at yung ating mga female employees. And if there's not a problem with them naman, then I don't see any reason why poproblemahin natin at magpapatayo pa tayo ng isa pang sleeping quarters or kung ano pa man. Pwede rin kasi na right from the start na ano natin 'to, nadi-discuss natin ito. Pwede tayong maglagay ng mga policy kasi wala pa tayo naman na talagang batas na nagsasabi na dapat ganito ang gawin mo 'pag meron kang LGBTQ members. Usually, it's left to management prerogative. So right from the start dapat nadi-discuss na, yes, you can make use of whatever comfort room or toilet or whatever sleeping quarters you identify with, but you need to make sure that you act accordingly. And if there is a concern, we receive reports about this, then we might have to, issue disciplinary action. Hindi ka exempted dito. Magkakaroon pa rin tayo ng disciplinary action. And then may certain discernment din kasi. Mararamdaman nyo naman kasi if a trans person is a true trans person. I mean, sinong lalaki naman, unless na lang may problema talaga to sa pag-iisip, ang magsusuot ng pambabae just to, harass female employees.
But
Kasi
it
kung meron
happens, di
ganun,
ba, Rona? So
it
it
can
happens in
happen.
the US.
It can happen in the US. Ewan ko, malaki problema ng US for some reason. Pero in the Philippines, it's something that's very rare. Kasi sa atin, kumbaga, ramdam kagad natin if a guy is just doing things just to, harass female employees. Or if the guy really identifies as a female employee. Makikita nyo naman yun, or female gender, makikita nyo yan. Sa amin noon, yung sinasabi ko na meron kaming pre-op trans person within our organization. And yung mga babae, wala kaming nararamdaman na takot, wala. And even the guys, and yung mga guys namin, hindi lahat ito ay super open to the idea of the LGBTQ. Meron pa rin kami mga members na to some degree, meron pa rin silang homophobia. Pero they don't treat the person as somebody else. They treat the person as a female person kasi yun yung talagang nakikita namin eh. Siguro isa din yun sa kagandahan sa ating mga Pilipino, kahit pa sabihin natin na ang mga Pilipino medyo racist sometimes, pero tayo ang madaling mag-accommodate.
Adjust.
Madali tayong mag-adjust eh. Hindi tayo tipong katulad sa mga US na pag sinabi na, ang pronouns ko dapat she, dapat her ang gagamitin. Sa atin walang ganon. Nakita kita, mukha kang babae, nakapalda ka, she ka. Okay? And even yung mga gender, yung ating mga pronouns, hindi kasi tayo, yung pronouns natin, yung sa Filipino pronoun, napaka-gender neutral ng ako, ikaw, siya. So sa atin, mas madali tayong mag-adapt. Ibang usapan pag tama yung sinabi ni Mentor Jamie kanina, ibang usapan pag nasa ibang bansa kayo. Pag nasa Muslim countries kayo, huwag kayong magko-cross-dress. Kayo po ay baka mapugutan pa po kayo ng ulo. Lalo na kung doon sa mga super strict like Saudi Arabia, for example. Napaka-stricto ng mga yan. Kahit nga yung mga gay person, pag sa Muslim country, naku po, hindi ka po pwedeng magpakita ng kahit na anong hint. Kasi pwede kang hulihin ng police dahil meron silang mga police na ang primary focus lang is yung morals. Meron silang mga ganon. Ngayon kung nasa US ka, yan, very open sila sa ganyan at talagang very demanding ang mga tao doon na you use the pronouns that they identify with. So much so na nagiging concern na sa. Dito sa Pilipinas, not so much. We accommodate. You identify as a female, as long as you're not shoving it down my throat na dapat kitang kilalanin na female, alam mo yun, may respeto tayo. So, hindi siya ganun kalaki. And actually, nung na-post to sa Philippines HR group, ang feeling ko masyadong nag-overthink si HR. So, ang suggestion sa kanya, huwag ka mag-overthink. If wala namang problema coming from the female employees, I don't see any reason why you have to worry about how you're going to call the person. If the person identifies as a Jennifer, then call the person as a Jennifer. Doon siya masaya eh. Diba? We want to be called sa kung ano yung pangalan na gusto natin. If I want to be called as Anne Hathaway, tawagin mo kung Anne Hathaway, mix my day. Diba? Ganun tayo. And kung she identifies as a girl, she wants to use the pronoun she and her, go ahead, but pagdating natin sa mga legal documents, I will still refer to your assigned sex at birth. Yun pa rin ang ilalagay ko sa demographics, yun pa rin ang ilalagay ko. And that has to be clear right from the start. So tama din sinabi ni Mentor Jamie, communication is very important. Dapat clear din yung ano natin, yung usapan natin na kung paano kita iti-treat at kung ano yung hangganan ng treatment na yon, na pagdating sa any legal document, you're still going to be male or female, kung ano man yung sex mo assigned at birth, and you're still going to be a he or whatever is the gender or the pronoun that matches your sex assigned at birth. For legal documents, yun pa rin ang gagamitin natin. But anything other than that, let's say I want to commend you, I will use she, I will use her. If I send you an email, I will still use she and her, because I would not consider that as a truly formal and legal document. So sa akin yun yung stand ko dyan. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer this, kasi sobrang ano to komplikado. I think it's more of a case-to-case basis eh. Mentor Tina, ikaw, ano masasabi mo?
Mentor Tina
Sa
from the
retail industry.
ASEAN region and retail industry, and being an employer, what's your take on this? Kasi
I
you work
think
in the ASEAN region.
Yeah, I think we forget that companies and management should be the gatekeepers of their organization, and that the company should have that foresight to make decisions like this for the betterment of all and not just for an individual employee. So we have to put a step back and ask, what type of culture are we going for? Are we going to be very inclusive? And we've seen that in Singapore, where they actually even have an HR manager that just specializes in diversity and inclusion, and really everyone in that company puts their pronouns every time they introduce themselves. It is a must. Even if you are obviously a girl, you will still say, "Hi, my name is Shirley. I am a she and her." And I'm like, all right, then we really understand that that company is very welcoming and very open minded. But there are also some conservative companies where the owner does not even believe in that. And for the fact that there is an argument na everyone is talking about it instead of working and pursuing their sales products and goals, show that there is a misalignment between what management really wants, or what the company stands for, and what everyone in the company wants, 'di ba? Dapat pa lang sa beginning, management must take a stand on what type of company they want. If they want to be inclusive, go inclusive. If they don't want to have this type of problem, where there is actually a risk, kasi there are cases where some people are not yet sure, and pinapasok mo nga sa sleeping quarters ng female employee, and as a result, for example, may natanggap kang sexual harassment or rape complaint from the employees. And pag nag-usap yung dalawa, like naglalambingan lang naman eh, I don't really have any physical attraction to this person. But as an HR, you've received such a complaint. And it also just proves that the HR on that company is incompetent for not being able to foresee such type of incident. If you are a good company, you need to think for the benefit of every single person in your organization. Hindi lang sa taong pinakamalakas ang boses, pinakamagaling magsulat ng complaint, at pinakamakapal na mukha magbibigay ng letter asking for favorable behavior. So for example, if somebody says, well, I need to under time because 1 hour later I have to do this and this and this, pero hindi mo ko babawasan ng sweldo because that's my right as a whatever, you need to actually put a full stop and said, hey, that's not cool because it looks unfair with everybody else in the organization. There's a saying that your freedom ends when the freedom of other people begins. And what this means in layman's terms is you have every right to dictate what you want to be or who you want to be, or whichever. Everyone has the right to be themselves. but you do not have the right to impose your beliefs on others to the point that they feel uncomfortable, and you have to exert your right to the point na because you are such, they have to follow. Unless you are the company owner, then you have absolute right to say what you want. If you want to paint your office pink and have flowers, and everyone calls you like Grandita ng Manila, then say so. Add that to your training para sa pagsimula pa lang ng training mo, everyone will call you Grandita ng Manila. And kung sinong ayaw sumunod, ipasok mo ng insubordination. Take a stand. You know what I mean? And for me lang, the best HR practitioners that I have ever known has always put their achievements and their performance first, never their gender. The best. Okay? Pag gender nang pinag-uusapan, there is really that tendency na wala ka nang masyadong nagagawa, wala ka nang mapag-uusapan. So for you to stay relevant, you need to put your identity out there. Let your work speak for itself and earn respect of others, not based on your explicit gender that you impose on others, but by the work you do every day. Because in the Philippines pa, the more people like you, the more they will respect you and do what you say. People will not like you if you order them to call you a cat because of cats. People will call you a cat if they love you and they respect you, and beyond your performance. If you just want to be called a cat, they will call you a cat, whatever you want. We need to think of others before we impose our own beliefs. Likability is still the name of the game in the Philippines. And for me, if you want to use your comfort room, you want to use the sleeping quarters, you want to identify with the company name, you have to also pause on whether you are making life uncomfortable for everyone else
Others.
who's
Correct.
making that decision. You can actually put yourself away naman right? You don't have to sleep where the females sleep. You can make your own accommodations and maybe ask for a housing allowance from company. I'm pretty sure that to not put you and the other females in the organization in an uncomfortable position, the company may consider giving you additional stipend so that you can rent a bed space close to the company premises in lieu of a sleeping quarter. You want to use a comfort room, you cannot use a comfort room, be a little bit softer in making that request, and maybe allocate a little room, there's or another floor or what. Don't be too rigid in imposing your beliefs unless you are the owner, because at the end of the day, the company is made out of hundreds, thousands of people working in the same organization, and their rights is as important as your rights too. And
Agree.
if you keep that in mind, and when you ask that request, you keep that in mind, I am sure that the HR and company management will be more receptive in giving you what you want, because you also keep their needs and their limitations and their resources in mind. And that is how you can actually promote your identity inside their organization and help the organization hire more transgenders, hire more LGBTQ, and ensure that everybody will see the group as very professional. Diba? Kasi if you put your identity in the line, you insist, you create problems to the organization, that does not help the movement. That just encourages the company not to hire more people like you. However, if you can show that you are a very professional person, a professional worker, the identity is secondary. I'm sure because of you, so many others will be hired who have the same story as you. How about you, Coach Darwin?
Before I put out my ideas about this. There's a question come from Mary Jane Rettig. This is a question to Coach Rona, but I think everyone can answer this. Question would be, ay, hindi na gaano. Coach Rona, as individuals po, we respect people when it comes sa hiring process. Pero may mga social media pages na may restriction na hindi
Yes.
pwedeng input male or female on hiring. How do you see it po? Thank you and good afternoon. I think ang question niya rito is, di ba,
Yes.
part of the anti-discrimination
Yes.
guidelines of DOLE is when you're hiring, you should not put their male or female
Yes.
or unless specific dun sa role. So, how would you, Rona, how would you answer this?
Actually, kung ang question is, anong masasabi natin doon sa mga pinagbabawalang ilagay yon, hindi naman dapat nating hinihingi pa. I mean, kakasabi lang ni Mentor Tina, di ba? Walang bearing yung walang bearing yung gender. 'Di ba? I don't see, parang ano din yan parang age din yan. Anong impact ng age? Anong impact ng gender do sa trabaho that needs to be done? Like if for example, I'm looking for an HR assistant, usually lalagay nila preferably female. Bakit? Yun ang always first question ko palagi. Bakit? Is this something that cannot be done by the male applicants? Bakit kailangan mo ng female? Or conversely, if you're looking for, let's say, a field agent, tapos lalagay mo preferably male or male only, bakit? Ba't mo kailangan ilagay? Anong meron yung mga kalalakihan na hindi magagawa ng babae? So usually sasagot yun ng mga iba dyan, kasi nakakatakot pag babae, baka ma-hold up din yung lalaki, or baka ma-rape sila. But pag-feel din nyo ba yan ng 12:00 ng hating gabi at ano kayo? 'Di ba? Yun yung palaging question dyan eh. And ako, sa HR bootcamp, palagi ko to sinasabi, alisin nyo na yung nilalagay nyo pa na male or female or male only, female only. Walang bearing yan. Lalo na yung ilalagay nyo na male/female. I mean, we only have 2 sexes assigned at birth. Anong gusto mong mangyari? Are you saying that you're not gonna hire members of the LGBTQ community? Kasi what if someone who's a member of the LGBTQ community is the best applicant for that role? Aalisin mo ba sila dahil lang sa gender na yun? So, I don't see the importance of putting in advertisements yung male or female or male only or preferably male, preferably female. I don't see the need for that. What about you, Coach Dar and Mentor Tina and Mentor Jamie?
Ako with regards to the
Bawal sa
question, I would
PHRG.
agree. Ayan.
Bawal sa PHRG. Pag may male, female, or
Oo.
age, we automatically
We
decline
automatically
because
decline
it's
it,
a law.
correct.
Yeah. Okay, back to Coach Dar.
With regards to the HR question for the week, ako number one, tama yung sinabi ni Mentor Jamie. Tignan niyo muna ano existing laws ng bansa. Ano existing laws and also the majority of how the culture of that particular country is. I mean, in the Philippines, we do not have a clear-cut law with regards to LGBTQ. It is something pending for the past 20 years in the Senate. But there are certain guidelines already, di ba? Meron tayong Safe Space Act, meron tayong Anti-Discrimination Act, di ba? So you can always anchor your policies with those kinds of existing government policies. Pero aside from the government, yung sinasabi ni Mentor Tina, ikaw as an owner, wag management, ikaw as an owner. Kasi yung right to hire is management prerogative or employer's prerogative. Ano ba yung gusto mong i-hire sa company mo? Gusto mo ba ano ka ba? Yung sinasabi ka ni Mentor Rona kanina, mag-decide ka. Inclusive ka ba? Or magkakaroon ka ng culture na hindi na may restrictions? Kasi hindi po pwedeng may ambiguity. Kasi whenever there's an ambiguity, magra-rise lagi yan ng mga problems. Diba? For example, ito, i-share ko lang, hindi pa kasagsagan noon ng issues about using the comfort room. We made a decision that yung PWD comfort room, kasi male, female, saka PWD sa isang floor, ayaw paggamit ng mga ibang tenant yung female CR sa mga cross-dressers. Kasi kahit na gusto namin, meron kaming may ibang tenant pa sa floor na yon, di ba? So we don't have the right. And even the building admin says, no, we follow based on biology. So we've asked, pwede bang convert yung PWDCR. Yung PWCR doon tinuturo ng guard yung mga LGBTQ community na nagko-cross-dress. Ang dating kasi hindi naman disability ang pagiging LGBTQ. Bakit doon siya tinuturo? So we have to rebrand the PWDCR as a gender neutral CR. Di ba? So it really again goes back to what is your company's policies, and how would you hire people. Kasi tama yung sinasabi niyo sa onset pa lang, pag meron ka ng interview, dapat maging transparent ka na. Maging honest ka na. Oh, this is the culture of the organization. This is our limitations. But again, we also go back to kailangan din na, in a sense, kasi diversity, inclusivity, and inclusion, this is something that is, it's a reality right now. It's also part of being competitive in the market. But go back, how would you be able to implement diversity and inclusion na hindi naapektuhan yung rights ng other people? So that's where I'm coming from. Okay, so let's go to, so since wala pa namang, may mga opinions ba coming from the
Okay na din. Okay na.
Okay na, okay. So let's go to HR Learning of the Week. Mentor Jamie.
Okay, for turnover. So sabi nga dito, when employees willingly or unwillingly leave an organization and the company must find new employees to work in those roles. So example, if a firm's turnover rate is high, then hiring managers must determine if they're selecting the right candidates. I agree with this, pero may isang side din akong tinitingnan. So turnover, yun naman syempre, yan ang tinitingnan natin, especially in HR na, as much as possible, if we want to retain talent, especially if they are asset of the company. Now, if firm's turnover rate is high, then the hiring manager must determine if they're selecting the right candidates. I believe naman ang mga recruiters, even before when I also was tasked by my HR director to recruit, very clear naman. Lalo na kung babalikan natin yung pinag-usapan natin kanina na about core values, ano yung belief, even when it comes to hiring, anong kumbaga position, ano yung hinahanap natin. So very clear naman yun before actually hiring, and even the competency-based na interview, kumbaga selected naman yon. Now, upon selecting the candidate, syempre, once the recruiter kumbaga ginagawa naman yung role, when it comes to turnover, hindi naman din natin masasabi na it's nakabase lang ito sa recruiter. It must be seamless, di ba? Para sa lahat. So, from the recruiter, gagawin niya yung part niya. Pero syempre, from training and development, ano ba yung onboarding experience? Di ba? Hindi lang CX, merong customer experience, merong users experience. Dapat meron din yung onboarding experience. Napaka-importante yon. So, plus, of course, kapag once they are on board na, kailangan din sa department nila, how are they being, kumbaga, yung immersion nila, yung training nila, and once they're there na, so maraming mga factors. So kailangan talaga tulong-tulungan, seamless siya. Sabi nga, maraming reason why employees may leave the job. So as leaders then, napaka-importante then we take a look in what way can be retain them. And if we need to ask, for example, HR's help when it comes to paano ba, like if there are other opportunities, kung hindi fit in terms ng ayaw na nila sa department nila, and may talent sila na gustong another role that they would want to do. So why not, offer, like in our company, then may mga cross-training kami, may career navigation. So para at least, instead na lumipat sila sa ibang company, we can retain them. Pero again, iba-iba naman ang heart ng mga tao. Baka minsan pangangailangan when it comes to salary. So they might opt to leave the company. But again, if they are more than monetary, hindi lang monetary ang tinitingnan nila, but growth as well, kung kaya naman natin i-provide yon, why not? Yun na nga lang, it's how we get the leaders in each department, it's how they get to know the individuals o yung mga employees, ano ba talagang what matters to them. And maybe from there, we can work out so that this talent, one, their potential can be enhanced. Second, of course, yung other needs nila, maaring ma-provide din natin. Baka kasi kulang din sa communication. Parang narinig ko sa isang discussion yata natin in the previous, ando naman meron yung mga benefits at mga pwede palang pang-growth, kaya lang hindi nakarating dun sa mismong employee. Ang turnout, high potential pa naman lumipat sa ibang company. So I think communication also has what we call a big part para at least yung turnover natin ay hindi siya patuloy na lumaki. And I think it's very important once na-determine natin, lalo na sa HR, kung ano yung reasons for turnover, then we could also, talk with the rest of the leaders in the company so that we can help one another on yung mga things that we can, may magagawa tayo para wag tumaas na yung turnover, then we address that. And there are those talaga naman, kung hindi na natin mapipigilan sila, then it's beyond our control, then definitely those are things that we can accept. But yung mga areas we can improve on, like yung performance, yung feedback, and even how we handle complaints or yung mga concerns ng mga individuals. Kasi sabi nga, if employees act, parang customer din yan, di ba? Once employees raise their concern, basta siguro part na rin ng culture natin na i-encourage sila na i-respect natin yung hierarchy kung kanino magre-raise ng concerns, ay pinapakinggan natin. Once they raise that, sabi nga ano yung naglakas loob na yan? Pakinggan natin. Kasi maraming empleyado, resign na lang. Di ba mga mentors, minsan they don't voice it out anymore. They just simply resign. So if employees are voicing out what makes them uncomfortable, what makes them unhappy or something that they need help for, then yung unhappy naman, ibig sabihin ko doon is something related sa work, hindi lang yung pang-personal. Yung we could actually help them out with and address ng company, then we can take a look at that so that we can also do our best to retain high potential employees. So how about you, Mentor Rona?
Yes, ako ang gusto ko lang idagdag dyan, mga fellow HRs, iba po ang turnover sa attrition rate, ha? Usually, marami nalilito dito eh. Magkaiba po ang attrition rate, magkaiba po ang turnover rate. Turnover rate, pagpapalitan, kaya siya tinawag na turnover, kasi yung movement ng pagpalit. Attrition, on the other hand, is when you don't replace. So pag may umalis, hindi na re-replace. That's attrition. Okay? And etong dalawang metrics na to is very important for us in HR. Tulad nga na nabanggit ni Mentor Jamie. Very important ito kasi this is a sign for us. Ito yung mga tinitignan natin pag medyo nag-out of pattern na yung ating mga data. It means that there's trouble brewing and we need to get to the root cause ng kung bakit ba nagkakaroon tayo ng pag-peak nung ating or yung biglang mga nagja-jump na mga turnover and attrition rate. Yun lang naman po. Ayan. Mentor Tina and Coach Dar?
Mentor
Wait,
Tina.
I want to greet those who are in the group and left. Si Ma'am Lucy Chengdi said, my opinion, if there is a need during the job specs. Ma'am Lucy, wala tayo sa opinion, may batas na po tayo. So be very careful. Even if you post an ad with gender or age in JobStreet will not even approve it because there is already a law. Burley Alcantara says, hello from Caloocan. Joanne D. Dalisay is watching from Bauan, Batangas. And for that, I think we would like to move to the next part, which is, mayroon pa nagsabi dito. Sabi po ni Sir Gary Jer Ambejo, that is why some recruiters choose the not so complicated way, which is avoiding to hire a trans. Again, it is good to discuss, but if you are part of a movement, make sure that people see you in a very professional manner so that more will be hired. Okay. So next, yun lang. So let's move na to Dole.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
just a good reminder that the Office of the President declares both February 9 and February 10 as special non-working holidays for Chinese New Year. So the pay for this is basic wage multiply by 130% if pumasok ka and 150% pag rest day mo and pumasok ka. Again, if you did not report, that is a no work, no pay. Hindi katulad sa mga red holidays or regular holidays wherein pag pumasok ka 200%, pag hindi ka pumasok 100%. So again, sa mga taong magrereklamo sa Lunes na nagbakasyon kayo, hindi kayo pumasok, pero Chinese New Year daw, sabi ng presidente, kaya dapat mabayaran kayo ng 130%. Be very careful not to show your ignorance. Again, if you worked on your rest day, it's 150% additional. And if you worked on a hindi mo rest day, 130%. And if you work overtime on a rest day, it's 150% times 130% times number of hours worked. Okay? May linis
Ang
tayo,
dami
ha?
naka, ang dami nakakamali niya, no? Every time na ng holiday, ang question kinabukasan is, holiday naman,
Bakit mo
dapat
ko
bayad
bayad?
ako.
Mm-mm.
Diba?
True.
Do not be that group that looks ignorant because you do not know. Okay lang na tumahimik and let somebody else ask the question. Next po, SSS.
Yes, siyempre pa ang ating paboritong government agency, pinapaalala lang po ng SSS na yun pong pag-generate po ng PRN para po dun sa mga loans payment nyo po, yan po ay available 7th day of the month moving forward. So kung kunwari sa March 1, March 2, March 3 hanggang March 6, wala pa po talaga kayong ma-generate na PRN for loan payments sa mga panahon po yan kasi gine-generate pa po nung system yung report. 7 onwards at saka pa lang po yan magiging available. So, doon nyo pa lang po makikita yan. Same with
Kaya
pag mga
maraming
contributions po. Ano yan? Sorry?
Maraming nagpo-post, ba't daw wala silang makita dun sa,
Oo.
dun sa, nila, payment ng loans. Kasi wala pang
Ayan.
7th of the month.
Correct. At saka bago po tayo, lagi natin ito sinasabi sa Philippines HR Group, bago po pumunta sa Philippines HR Group at mag-rant, mag-complain at kung ano pa man, tignan nyo po muna yung Facebook page noong government agency mismo na nireklamo nyo. Kasi usually yan, may announcement doon. So katulad itong kay SSS, actually ito ay, if my memory serves me right, January pa lang, paulit-ulit na nilang nire-remind na pag kayo po ay mag-generate ng PRN for loans payment, 7th of the month, tsaka pa lang po yan nagiging available. Pag contributions naman po, 6th of the month, at tsaka pa lang yan nagiging available. So, pag tinry nyo po ng mas maaga doon, wala po talaga kayo mag-generate, wala po talaga kayo makikita, at hindi nyo po talaga makukuha yung PRN for those dates. Ayan po. Okay? At syempre pa, kung meron tayong SSS, nandiyan din po ang isa pa sa pinakamamahal natin. Ito talagang pinakamamahal nating government agency, si Pag-ibig. Yan, naku, panahon ng Pag-ibig po ang February at ngayon pong Feb, napakasaya po ng Pag-ibig dahil sa pagtataas po nila ng kanilang monthly premium, ang ibig sabihin din po nito ay tataas po ang ating savings. So magiging doble po ang ating savings, bigger cash flow na din po tayo dahil po sa pagtataas ng Pag-ibig, magiging at most po 200 pesos na po employee-employer. Reminder lang po sa mga ating mga katotong HR na excited sa pagtataas, kalma-kalma ha, sabi nga nung tugtog, di ba, baby kalma. Yung pong pagtataas ay nakabase po sa 2% ng 10,000. Tinaas po kasi yung base na ginagamit ni Pag-ibig para po do sa contribution. In the past, 5,000 lang po yan. So 2% ng 5,000 is 100 for employee and 100 for employer. Yung 5,000 ay ginawa na pong 10,000 max. Ibig sabihin yun po yung cap ng compensation na i-consider ni Pag-ibig. Which means, kung ang inyo pong empleyado ay 6,000 lang po ang sinweldo sa buong buwan, hindi po yan 200 ha. 2% of the 6,000 po ang mangyayari po dyan. So, i-check nyo po maigi ha, babasahin nyo po yung po mga announcement ng pag-ibig kasi baka naman nasobrahan naman tayo ng deduct. Wala namang problema kung masosobrahan ng deduct sa side ni employee, pero kasi sa side ni employer, baka magiging additional expense yan kahit na hindi naman dapat magkakaroon ng additional expense. So, make sure na naiintindihan po natin kung alin po yung nag-increase. Yung percentage po remains the same at 2%. It's the maximum compensation that has changed. It's now 10,000 pesos instead of 5,000 pesos. Ayan po. Okay. Ay, sorry. At syempre po, dahil nga sa pagtataas, mas malaki na po ang pwede nating i-loan ngayon kay Pag-ibig. So kung kayo po ay nagbabalak ng loan, pinakamaganda pong mag-loan ay sa Pag-ibig dahil sila po ang kanilang computation is based on the total accumulated value ng inyo pong savings. Ibig sabihin, hindi po ito katulad ng SSS na naka-max po kayo sa monthly salary credit. Ito po ay nakadepende po sa kung magkano na po ang naipon nyo sa Pag-ibig. So kung matagal na po kayong member, mas malaki po ang po pwede nyong i-loan. Pro tip, pag magmu-multipurpose loan sa Pag-ibig, pag matagal na po kayong member, pero pag housing loan, habang maaga, basta't eligible na kayo, pwede na kayong mag-loan para mas maganda yung payment terms nyo po. Ayan.
Agree. Para po sa updates from PhilHealth, pinapaalala po ng PhilHealth na wala pong loan ang PhilHealth. Kaya mag-ingat po tayo sa mga website na nagsasabi na po pwede kayong mag-loan or umutang sa PhilHealth. Kasi may mga kumakalat ngayon na website na nagsasabi na pag kinilik mo to, ito ay loan coming from PhilHealth. So wag po kayong maniniwala kasi ang PhilHealth po ay isang government-led insurance company to take care of the health benefits of our countrymen. So lahat po tayo may PhilHealth. So hindi po sila nagpapaloan, hindi po sila tulad ng SSS o ng Pag-ibig. Wala pong loan na binibigay ang PhilHealth. So para po sa sigurado at mas tamang impormasyon, bisitahin po ang PhilHealth website www.philhealth.gov.ph at i-follow lang po ang kanilang mga social media accounts, official social media accounts, PhilHealth Official, Team PhilHealth at Team PhilHealth in Twitter and in Instagram. Also, pinapaalala rin po ng PhilHealth na ngayon ay aktibo na po ang 24/7 nilang hotline. So, ang hotlines po nila ay 802-8662-2588. So, this is a 24/7 Philippine hotline of the Philippine Health Insurance Company. So, kung meron po kayong mga katanungan, po pwede po kayong tumawag 24/7, 365 days a year, pwede nyo pong magkaroon ng immediate response coming from PhilHealth sa pamamagitan lang po ng pagtawag sa kanilang hotline. Ulitin po namin, ang hotline ay 02-8662-2558. Also, nandito po tayo sa second part or exciting part ng ating program. Ang ating pong next topic is about creating a culture of compassion in the workplace. Now, this is very important because a lot of organizations would say that they, di ba, in their vision, mission, and goals, they would also always say that they're employee-centric, to take care of the employees, pero hindi ito talagang na isa sa policy or hindi talaga siya na-inculcate sa culture. So, Mentor Allan Cañete will be discussing how culture, the creating a culture of compassion in the workplace will be done. And just to give a formal introduction to Allan Cañete. Allan Cañete is a president and CEO of Creative Moves Business Outsourcing. He is also a CHRP certified and one of the board of directors of the Philippines HR Group. He has more than 30 years of hands-on experience in all types of HR and OD interventions. And he has good exposure in corporate planning development and keen business sense and expertise in strategic planning, which enables him to think beyond the domains of human capital. Si Mentor Allan po ay graduate ng AB Psychology in Industrial Clinical Psychology at Trinity University of Asia Pacific. and he also received his CBA training in UP Soler, and of course certified HR professional at IFPM Philippines. He is also a certified international trainer for IMT, or Interaction Management and Techniques for Empowered Workforce Development Dimension Incorporated. Alan is also one of the board of directors of the Philippines HR Group, and he is actually very busy with a lot of HR consultancy, HR training. Right now, Alan is also a father for three young gentlemen, happily married, has a happy love life with his wife, Annalisa. And ano po, si Mentor Alan, kung hindi niyo po itatanong, napaka-creative po niyan. He also draw, he also use AI, he also very artistic po siya. So, very well-rounded po. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to properly introduce our facilitator for creating a culture of compassion in the workplace, Mr. Allan or Mentor Allan Cañete. Mentor
Good
Allan.
afternoon. Thank you so much for that introduction, Sir Darwin. Magandang hapon, Mentor Tina, Mentor Rona, and of course, from Jenny. And I would like to greet also the 60 people who,
60,
kanina, 60.
mm,
Ilan na sila
60,
ngayon
60
na,
70 na sila ngayon na
na
live. Kaya for
nanunood,
sure,
right? Thank you so
napakadami niyan
much
mamaya.
for dropping by. Thank you so much for taking interest dito sa napakagandang topic na ito. Tamang-tama kasi malapit ang Valentine's at
Mm-mm.
ang maraming tao ngayon ay naghahanda para i-express yung kanilang love sa kanilang mga minamahal. Now,
So,
nagkataon na
Mentor
yung
Alan,
yes,
Mentor Alan,
yes.
we'll give you the floor muna po. So that will be, you'll have the full 60 minutes sa iyong presentation.
Yes.
I'm sure this is
Thank you
very
so much.
in-depth topic. So we'll just be at the backstage and we'll be back for the Q&A.
Thank you, thank you. All right. So, ang dami nyo na ngayong nandiyan dyan, ano? Please keep on sharing the link at i-mention nyo rin sa mga friends niyo because we'll be sharing a lot of wonderful techniques on how to really implement um, this culture of compassion in your respective organizations, regardless kung kayo ay business organization or you are a non-profit organization, no? Or you are a government agency. Applicable po ito. Malapit na ang Valentine's. Marami na naghahanda para express yung kanilang love. Now, for a moment, siguro forget mo na the chocolates and roses while you're thinking of how to celebrate this wonderful love day in its traditional form. Let's not forget, should I say, another powerful expression of love. Tamang-tama ang Valentine's Day during work day, no? So let us express compassion in the workplace. That's basically celebrating love in the workplace. Okay, so let's learn how to imbibe a culture of compassion, right? That is showing up for your colleagues. Ano ba yung compassion na yan? Showing up for your colleagues, fostering empathy, creating a supportive environment, and it is not just a parang word na, 'di ba? Parang magical word na narinig natin maraming beses. Hindi lang siya ganun, no? Meron talagang practical techniques in order to make it a reality. Hindi lang siya lip service. So, think about it. Love isn't limited to romantic partners. The act of caring, understanding, and treating others with respect, the very essence of compassion, can transform our professional lives too. Imagine a workplace where collaboration thrives, colleagues have each other's backs, the stress melts away, replaced by a genuine sense of community. Diba? Parang sounds idealistic, sounds pretty good. Pero marami akong alam na kumpanya na nagagawa yan. It's not fiction, ladies and gentlemen. It's a reality in many companies right now, both local and abroad. Okay, so I'm inviting everyone to sit back and relax. And I want you to share the link para mas marami pa makapanood nito para malaman nila rin kung paano ginagawa ang ating topic na ito. Alright, so let me start with a quote. Sabi ni Edward Albert. No? Si Edward Albert ay isang American actor. Sikat siya nung mga bago mag 2006 before he left the planet. No? Ang sabi niya, the simple act of caring is heroic. The simple act of caring is heroic. Right, so that will set the tone of our presentation today. So, simulan natin dun sa question na what is culture? Kasi culture of compassion. Ano ba tong culture na to? Now, sabi ni Brian Chesky, ito po ay American entrepreneur and co-founder nung and the CEO ng Airbnb. I'm sure everybody knows what is Airbnb, no? The company that operates an online marketplace and hospitality service for people to lease or rent short-term lodging, yung mga mahilig mag-travel dyan. Sabi niya, culture is the sum total of all the things that all the people in your company do. I remember a vice president for operations nung company na tinrabahuan ko rin, first employer ko na corporate. Actually, second employer ko na yun kasi first employer ko sa tourism, though it was just a family business of a friend. Pero ito, formal corporate employer, happens to be a donut company also. Nabanggit ni Coach Darwin kanina, donut company yung kanyang first employer. Malamang pareho kami ng pinanggalingan. No? Sabi nung vice president doon, he's a Spanish mestizo. Sabi niya, what is culture? Culture is the way things are around here. So what you see around here, that's us. That's how we deal with each other. That's how we talk. That's how we dress. That's how we deal with our staff members, colleagues, customers. That's culture. Same, no? Yun din yung sinasabi nito mga experts. The workplace culture is more than just a buzzword. It's the heartbeat of any organization. Heartbeat, no? So kung ang heartbeat mo ay naghihingalo, malamang ang culture niya ay very poor type of culture. Kung ang heartbeat mo ay upbeat, o meaning active, no? Mabilis yung palpitation, malamang stressful din yung kultura mo, no? Pero yung heartbeat ng inyong organization ay kalmado. Kalmado at sumasabay sa magandang harmonious music around. Ika nga, no? Everybody's also working happily and calm. So it's a heartbeat, no? It's the tempo that's happening inside. Kaya kung anong tugtog, siya raw yung sayaw. So, ganun din ang culture, no? Kung ano yung tugtog, music na gusto ng CEO at ng mga executive leaders, yun din yung sayaw ng mga leaders down below hanggang sa baba. Kaya pag stressful ang gusto nilang music, lahat stressed. Pag gusto nila, may mga CEOs naman at executives, gusto nila kalma lang. We are working not just to earn money, but we're also working for our lives, for our dreams, for our aspirations, and for our families. Okay? So, ano po ba ang tatalakayin natin today? I'll try to cover as much as possible the entire thing. Here's my drone view. Okay? We'll start by understanding the core of compassion. Ano ba meaning yan? We'll explore the nuances of comparison or the nuances in comparison to empathy and sympathy, nitong word na compassion na to. Then we'll make the business case for compassion. So I'll give you an idea on how it can be applied at anong kalalabasan sa kumpanya kapag ginamit ito, no? As part of your, as the sabi nating the foundation of your corporate culture, right? And even the reputation of your organization is affected by that. Kaya pag-usapan din natin yan. We'll acknowledge the obstacles. Yan. May mga obstacles kasi din ang pag-implement ng culture ng compassion, no, as a culture. We'll talk about that, and we'll discuss how to overcome these obstacles. No? So as we move forward, we will delve into the practical aspects. Yung leadership role, dahil crucial yan, they should know how to become the best example of compassion. No? We'll discuss how they can set the tone, and then we'll touch on people or employee training, yan, which is a very, very important strategy and in creating a supportive environment. At pag-usapan din natin yung importance of recognizing and celebrating compassion acts or compassionate acts. Kasi maaring naniniwala ka sa compassion pero you're forgetting the importance of celebrating people who have demonstrated successfully the compassionate behavior. Okay? So to reinforce, kasama dapat yan. Then finally, we'll address the nuts and bolts, promoting employee engagement, well-being, and how we can measure and assess the impact of compassion. Ayun, so medyo marami-rami, pero I'll try my best na ma-cover natin lahat ito. So let's start with the question, what is compassion? Compassion. Marami na nalilito dyan. Now, for me, it is a powerful force that drives understanding, empathizing, kindness, and support. UEKS. Apat na puso na umiiral sa kumpanya, sa organization. Ito pong apat na to ay umiiral na sa pamilya natin eh. Pero we want to extend this in the workplace. Kaya yung sinasabi nila, family at atmosphere kami dito, they're referring to understanding, empathizing, kindness, and support. Right? So it involves acknowledging and considering the feelings, needs, the well-being of others, and taking actions to alleviate their suffering or difficulties when possible. Right? So, may tatlong stages po yan. First stage, I see you, I hear you. That's recognizing the challenges and situation. So, kung nakita mo yung tao, nahihirapan, meron siyang challenges, nasa isang sitwasyon difficult, nakita mo yan. I see you, I hear you. But that's the first stage. Recognition pa lang yan. Hindi pa yon compassion. You should go to the next stage. That is empathizing and understanding the feelings. Try to put your feet in the person's shoes. Okay? So, yun sabi nilang wag ka lang tumingin at makinig. Ramdamin mo yung sitwasyon niya. Try to imagine if you're in that position, in that situation. So, papasok ko sa second stage. I feel you, I understand you. Kung ganyan tayo lahat sa kumpanya, maintindihan mo na kagad kung bakit nagkakagano ng boss mo, nagkakagano ng peer mo, kapwa mo supervisor, ba't nagkakaganyan yung mga tao mo. Because you do not only recognize and you do not only look at the data, you do not only compare the data, the numbers, you do not only look people at as numbers in the company, but as human beings with feelings and emotions. Kaya mafe-feel mo sila. The next stage, ladies and gentlemen, para matawag talagang compassion, dapat may action. Naramdaman mo nga, naintindihan mo yung sitwasyon niya, pero anong ginawa mo? Wala, I can only empathize. Yun ang sinasabi nila, I can only empathize and I can't do anything about this. Come on. If you're a proactive person, you'll find a way. I find a way to help alleviate the person's difficulties if it is within your control. So yung third stage is, I will help you in any way I could. And that is compassion. Okay? So, ipasok natin UAKS. Ipasok natin. So, paano ba yan? Ito. Sa next slide natin. Yan. Makikita nyo sa next slide, yung apat na puso pumasok. No? UEKS. So, yung understanding, kasi sa recognition, wala pang understanding yan eh. Pero pagpasok ng second stage, may understanding na at saka empathizing. Pagpasok kayo ng third stage, which is the critical part and the most important part, doon na papasok yung real kindness, the genuine concern will be there. Hindi lang lip service because you are now offering support to alleviate the person's difficulties. Yan ang kaya yun, pasok na yung UEKS. Ngayon, maraming tao nalilito. Anong kaibahan ng empathy, sympathy, at compassion? Okay, let me first deal with the first two terms, no? Empathy and sympathy. When you say empathy, you are understanding the feelings of the person. Sinabi natin kanina, try to imagine that you are in that position, in that situation. Pag sympathy naman, you feel sorry for someone. Yan. So you can imagine that inside the company, everybody is having that kind of attitude na kapag may nakikitang kasama, may kausap pa kasama, hindi mo lang cerebrally iniintindi, you also look at the feeling. Sabi ko nga, pag nagtuturo ako na active listening, pay attention to the facts and feelings. Dalawang F. Sa facts, yun yung W questions. Who, what, when, where, why, how. May buntot pa yung H, and etc. So, when you are looking at the answers for the W questions and H, yun yung facts. But when you look at the feeling level of the person that you're talking with, you're now recognizing and acknowledging the emotional state of the person. That's empathy already. Now, what about sympathy? Sympathy is also understanding the feelings and you feel sorry for the person. Ayan. So, you feel sorry. Pero parehong wala pang action. Magiging magical lang if you start feeling compassionate because you're now willing to act. Okay? So, you're now willing to act. Empathy is about understanding, sabi ko kanina. But compassion, that's the superhero in the trio. Right? Compassion is empathy in action. It's taking steps to alleviate someone's pain or difficulty. And so the formula, therefore, is empathy plus action. But not just action, it should be positive action para magawa mo talagang may compassionate behavior ka. Kasi may iba, nag-empathize daw sila, pero actually they're sympathizing. Para sa akin, dalawa magkaiba pa rin yan, no? When you sympathize, you also understand, pero you agree to the person's opinion and action regardless kung ito ay mali. And you are doing also another action in support of that person, kaya lang negative action. Kaya may tinatawag na political sympathizers. Kapag nagsisympathize ka sa isang tao, kahit mali na yung kanyang paninindigan, ginagawa, opinion, values, dahil kaibigan mo siya, dahil barkada mo siya, dahil idol mo siya, sympathizer ka eh. Wala kang pakialam. Sa compassion, hindi. You empathize and you think clearly kung magka-align ba kayo ng core values and you will lead a person to the right thing by showing positive action and making the person feel that you are with him. Basta positive action ang kaibahan. Kaya pwede mo sabing, I could only empathize with you, but what you are doing and what you are going to do is something that I don't agree. But I could only empathize. Yun, excuse yun, no? But if you believe that the person really needs help to alleviate his pain, take action, positive action. That's compassion. All right? Malinaw na. So, now, anong impact ng compassion in the workplace? Look at this slide. People or employees feel supported, valued, and understood. And that translates to well-being, engagement, and productivity. So, that's the result. Why does compassion matter in the workplace? Studies show it's not just a touchy-feely concept. When compassion becomes the norm, it creates a workplace where employees feel supported, valued, and understood. This in turn boosts their well-being and surprise productivity. productivity. Happy employees are often more engaged and bring their, kumbaga, their talents, their competencies, their galing to the table to contribute for the success of the company. All right. Noong pong um, noon pong 90s, early 90s, na-meet ko po si Dr. Felipe Landa Jocano. He's a UP anthropologist at sa kanya ko unang naintindihan at na narinig ang konsepto ng pagmamalasakit. Nalaman ko yung konsepto ng pagmamalasakit culture or malasakit culture, sa kanya po galing yun. At sa kanya ko rin nalaman yung tinatawag na management by Filipino culture, yung emphasis on Filipino asal. And he's referring to the Filipino kapwa, dangal, and damdamin. Yung kanyang definition ng kapwa, meron niyang tawag dito mga value indicators, yung pakikisama, pakikitungo, pakikiramay. Yung damdamin naman, ang subculture niyan ay yung hiya, amor proprio or self-esteem, and yun namang dangal, ang subculture niyan ay pagbabahala or sense of responsibility, then yung utang na loob at galang. So kung papakinggan mo maigi, lahat yan dinefine niya, no? Lahat po yan, iisa lang pinatutunguhan, yung kabutihang asal ng Pilipino, na kapag in-apply mo sa corporate situation or corporate environment, yun yung dinidefine natin ngayon na compassion. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, dekada na po yung konsepto ng compassion. It is only now that they are emphasizing it again, no? At parang there's a conscious effort to campaign for compassion today. Matagal na naman, ever since naging TQM, ang campaign nila noon, the human side of quality. Okay? Tapos ngayon, yung new millennium, yan na nga, pumasok yung mga ano natin, yung mga empowerment, yung mga inclusivity, etc., etc. And now they're emphasizing compassion. So, what I'm just saying is that hindi na po bago ito. Matagal na po namin itong ginagawa, simula pa nung early 90s, sa mga employers ko bilang organization development practitioner. Ito rin po ang kinakampaign ko sa aking mga kliyente. Alright? So, yan po yung first module, key learning points. Remember the UEKS. Kung natatandaan po ng meaning nyo, ano pa bang meaning ng UEKS, isulat po ninyo sa ating comment box. And then action. Remember, dapat may action. Hindi lang empathy, kailangan positive action. And remember that when you practice compassion, gaganda ang productivity ng mga tao. At ang malasakit po ay matagal na at yan ay equivalent ng compassion. Let's go to second module. Ayan, bibilisan ko na to, no? Kasi isang oras lang ako. So, ano naman ang impact nito sa negosyo? Okay, here's the business case. In the chart, you will see here that well-being, kapag yung well-being at engagement ng mga tao, level of engagement at productivity ay tumaas, gumaganda rin yung kanilang satisfaction sa kumpanya, no? The way they perceive the company is very caring and nurturing, and that increases or improves their sense of satisfaction with their employer, with their company. And what happens is, ito pong natural offshoot, it translates into excellent business results. So it's a win-win thing, di ba? Pag nagpakita ka ng kagandahang loob sa iyong mga empleyado, genuine care, sila rin ay nire-reciprocate ito. Kapag nagmalasakit ka sa mga tao, sila rin ay magmamalasakit. At ito pa ang maganda rito. Okay? Happy employee. May kasabihan, no? Happy wife equals happy life. Narinig ko yan sa mga barkada, kaya yung misis ko, lagi kong pinasasaya yan. Kasi magiging masaya buhay namin. Kasi hindi siya masungit, di ba? Pag masungit yan, paano na lang, di ba? umaga pa lang, hindi na masaya ang buhay. Kaya happy wife is happy life. Ganon din pala sa kumpanya. Happy employees equals happy customers. Kasi pag happy yung employees mo, productive sila, masaya sila, masipag, and they're also caring with you. They're also caring, no, in their behavior towards your customers. Kaya happy employees equals happy customers, and that results to a lot of positive business outcomes that will make the owners happy. Kaya win-win-win, no? Happy employees equals happy customers equals happy owners. Yun. So, ano pa ang positive impact ng compassion? Marami ng studies na nagpakita nito that compassion isn't a solo act. It's a team sport. When individuals within a team practice compassion, it creates a ripple effect. Team dynamics improve, collaboration improves, people are more willing to cooperate and solve common problems. They're more likely to help each other out, share ideas, and work cohesively toward common goals. Okay? Toward common goals. It's like having a well-oiled machine, efficient, productive, and there is an air of joy every day. Kaya mga tao sinisipag at ginaganahang pumasok kasi masayang kasama yung kanilang mga teammates. All right? So, now, also, it will enhance your organizational reputation, yung employee brand. Yun ang maganda ron. Employer brand, should I say. People will be learning about how good you are in treating your employees. So think about your favorite companies. I'm sure meron kayong mga naisip diyan ng mga kumpanyang narinig nyong ang ganda magpasahod, maganda ang pagturing sa kanilang mga tao, lalo na during difficult times, walang iwanan, that sets them apart in the competition. Often, these companies will not just have great products and great services, they will have also great human capital policies in treating their employees well, especially during difficulties, during crisis. Tingnan nyo nangyari, noong 2020, nung naging matindi yung pandemya, sino ang nag-thrive at nag-survive? Yung mga kumpanya na nagpakita ng compassion to their employees. Because nagmalasakit din yung mga employees. Hindi rin sila umalis, no? At nanatili, and therefore, ayan sila. Pero those companies na before the pandemic, talagang wala na silang culture of compassion. Walang pagturing na maganda sa mga employee. Results. Perapes talaga slave driver. Super slave driver. Nung dumating yung pandemya, ano nangyari? Nagkaiwanan. Nagkaalisan. Goodbye. Naghanap na sila ng malipatan. Yung iba ayaw nahirapan na. And the company was not used to giving pagmamalasakit to their employees. Hindi nila kayang gawin during crisis. Ayun, they decided to fold up. Ang dami nila. They did not survive because of their very poor culture. But those who are good, who are heroes among their employees, yung mga employees nila, they sacrificed a lot for the companies also, and they showed their pagmamalasakit, their compassion to the company, and look, sila yung nag-thrive at nag-survive yung iba at eto hanggang ngayon. And I'm sure a lot of your companies are among them because of that practice. Yung iba, ginawa lang yun dahil in compliance of the WHO's policy, no? Yung iba naman talagang ginawa lang yun dahil kumbaga wala yung genuineness ng kanilang pagtulong. Ang habol lang nila para mag-survive. Pero those who were genuine, hindi lang nag-survive, nag-thrive pa. Ito pa, kanina pag-usapan yung turnover. Kapag po merong magandang kultura ang kumpanya, magandang pagturing, napapababa ang turnover. Yung bang mababakante yung posisyon, papalitan natin ng panibago. Ito, in my picture, week 1, pumasok itong taon to. Nung week 2, nag-alsa balutan na sa linggong pag-ibig. Okay, so a compassionate workplace is a place where people want to stick around. Okay, high turnover is not just costly in terms of recruitment and training. It can also disrupt team dynamics and morale. Commission, or rather compassion, should I say, compassion reduces turnover by fostering a sense of loyalty and commitment. Yun ang maganda ron, no? People will reciprocate the malasakit by being loyal and committed to the company's goals, the company's mission. Kaya yung absenteeism, although masakit yan, no? Pag maraming nag-absent, bumababa rin yan. Kaya look, nagkakaroon din ng reduction in absenteeism. So look at this picture. Sabi yung manager, I call this meeting to discuss absenteeism. Yun lang, walang dumating. Absent lahat. Alright? So, kasi, siguro kulang to sa pagbumalasakit. Happy employees will show up, no? Will try its best to show up even during crisis. During crisis. Kasi, kailangan ka ng kumpanya eh. Ito yung mga oras na pwede mo na ipakita na ikaw rin ay nagmamalasakit at nagmamahal sa iyong kumpanya. Alright? So, here's the key learning points of that module. Remember, compassion is good for the business. Right? Happy employees equals happy customers. And this is equal also to happy company owners or employers. Okay? So, another team, the team gets better when there is an air of empathy and understanding, and people will always be there. No, meron kang somebody to rely upon, especially during difficult times. Okay, and collaboration is there, cooperation will be there, trust will be there. Okay, retention improves and attendance also improves. All right, the next, obstacles naman. Nako, ang dami mga obstacles na kailangan nating i-overcome. If you are a serious HR, ladies and gentlemen, titingnan po ninyo ang mga obstacles na to na nag-exist na. Okay? You might see them happening already in your company. First and foremost, when people lack understanding of what compassion is, they tend to resist. Lalong-lalo na yung mga managers and supervisors who does not believe in that kasi very impersonal yung kanilang attitude sa work. I remember a colleague, sabi sa kanya ng mga kasama namin, why are you not so friendly with people? Alam mo, sabi niya, well, I'm not here to make friends. I'm just here to work. So if you don't like me, I don't care. Basta sumisweldo at ginagawa ko yung trabaho ko. Trabaho lang, walang personalan. Mukhang tama pakinggan, right? However, yung impersonal nature ng tao is causing a lot of misunderstanding. Okay? Hindi siya maintindihan. The first roadblock is a lack of awareness and understanding. Sometimes people might not fully grasp what compassion entails or might confuse the concept with sympathy or empathy. It's like trying to play a game without knowing the rules. So it can lead to confusion and hesitation and resistance. So part of the journey is not just promoting compassion, but also ensuring that everyone is on the same page, understanding the power and impact it can have through, mamaya sabihin ko yung strategy. Siyempre, kasano doon ang training. Pangalawang obstacle, fear of vulnerability. What do you mean by that? So, raise your hand or just say, ano ba? Siguro mag-ano kayo ng emoticon na hand or thumb. If you ever felt a bit comfortable showing vulnerability at work, or if you know somebody in your office na takot, maging honest sa kanyang feelings, maging open sa mga tao. You see, it's okay to be vulnerable, to be honest, to be open. The fear of being open, being vulnerable is an obstacle to compassion. Compassion often involves acknowledging and addressing challenges and requires a level of openness. Okay? Kailangan aminin mo na kailangan mo ng tulong eh. Mga tao ayaw aminin na kailangan nila ng tulong. Some individuals, even the entire culture, ibang buong organization may hesitate to be open due to fear of of judgment, that they might be perceived as weak. Kaya ayaw mag-open, ayaw mag-share ng real feelings, ayaw nilang aminin na nahihirapan because baka ma-perceive sila as weak. Hindi lang individuals, pwedeng kultura ng isang department, pwedeng kultura ng buong kumpanya. Kaya mahirap po yung ganon. Nagtitibay-tibayan ka pero sa loob, nawawasa ka na. Sometimes you need to be open and be vulnerable, ika nga, and start trusting others. Our task here is to create an environment where vulnerability is not seen as weakness, but as strength. As a step towards building stronger connections and healthier workspace. All right, another obstacle, organizational culture that prioritizes results over well-being. All right? So, yung kanina pinag-uusapan kanina ng mga mentors natin, yung paano binubuo ang culture. Nabanggit yung core values, yung values formation, yung mission, vision, etc. All of these are being, it should be part of the onboarding process. Yung pag-onboard pa lang ng new employee, dapat nire-reorient yun na yung kanilang, nire-reshape yung kanilang core values. If a company's core values is emphasizing results, impersonalism, bawal dito ang masyadong emosyonal, trabaho lang, ganon. Ayun, nagiging problema po yan. So, it becomes an obstacle to compassion. We have, in some workplaces, there's a prevailing mindset that results and outcomes are all that matter. Wala nang iba kundi results lang. While results are crucial, we all agree, a culture that solely prioritizes them can overshadow well-being of employees. At delikado yun. It will overshadow the well-being of employees kaya nasa-sacrifice. It's like running a race without considering the health of your runners. Di ba? Sure, they might cross the finish line, pero ano na? They might cross the finish line, lawit na yung dila, pagod na, hirap na. Baka nga mag-collapse pa eh. So as we navigate this, we'll explore the strategies to shift culture towards a more balanced approach where both results and well-being are integral part of success. So ito na, mga strategies. Unang-una, education. Kailangan talaga may training. And all types of training, whether it's technical or non-technical, behavioral or what have you, i-mention po ninyo ang importansya ng trust, well-being, importansya ng cooperation, importansya ng empathy, ng active listening, kasama po yan eh. Okay? So, in fact, you should have a dedicated training on that, no? Active listening and empathizing. Sa leadership, isama nyo yung module ng emotional intelligence, right? And also, the leader should promote trust by being the best example. Promote empathy, promote trust, promote compassion, no? Be the best example for that. Now, may nagsabi sa akin isang manager, Alan, hindi ako yan eh. Hindi ako yung personality na yan eh. So, hindi ko gagawin yan. Kayo po, nasa inyo yan. It's up to you. But you are denying yourself of the beauty and the benefits of having this type of culture in your department. At kayo rin po ang may kinabang. It's a self-help kung gagawin niyo yung culture of compassion that we are espousing. Kami po kasi ang bilang organization development and HR, siyempre tayo ang tumutulong i-shape ang culture ng kumpanya. May tawag tayo sa OD na OD cultural intervention. Mga pakialamero tayo pagdating diyan. Okay, kung ayaw nila, they're denying themselves of the benefits of that. And ito, yung core values, yung napag-usapan kanina, yung dinidiscuss kanina ng mga mentors, the reshaping of core values of the company. Kung meron na nag-exist, you can help bilang HR and OD professionals in reshaping the core. Parang striking a balance between culture and well-being, okay? Between task orientation and people orientation. Ika nga ng Blake Newton managerial grid. All right? So, as we do these strategies, unti-unti may kita mo there will be a lot of significant changes, dramatic changes in the people's behavior, people's priorities, people's way of dealing with each other. And yung nga sabi ko sa inyo, pag maganda ang nagiging effect sa mga tao, this will be felt by the customers. And when the customers will feel this, kasi ito na rin yung the way they treat their customers with compassion, with pagmamalasakit. Of course, this will redound into better results. Diba? Results, di ba ng patutunguhan? Duman ka nga lang sa magandang pathway rather than pinwersa mo. Okay? At results din ng kalalabasan, long-lasting results pa at hindi band-aid solution. Right? So, let's go to the learning points of this module. Remember, lack of awareness is an obstacle. Fear of vulnerability is an obstacle. Poor organizational culture is an obstacle. And we can overcome them by training, by promoting trust, being the best example, and reshaping your core values. Now, let's go to the impact of compassion in customer relations and then organizational performance. Let's go to this. So, tingnan itong drawing na to. Itong slide na to. Picture na to. Kaya ako sinasabing drawing kasi nagsimula yan sa drawing kinonvert ko to into picture using AI. Sabi ng customer service rep, thank you sir, balik po kayo. Pero sabi naman ng robot, pasensya, AI lang. Di ba? Ito yung madalas sa excuse natin pag nagkakamali tayo. No? Pasensya na, tao lang. Ito, robot Pasensya na, AI lang. Pasensya na, robot lang. Pero ladies and gentlemen, alam nyo, pansinin nyo ngayon, lahat ng mga kausap mo, ng mga kumpanya, lalo na yung mga utilities, you're talking to a robot. Sa mga call centers, puro robot yan. Puro mga recorded voice. Naka-AI naman yung iba at alam yung sagot, no? Chatbot, yung iba, voiced na yung kanilang bot. Kaya lang, wala yung empathy. Hindi ko maramdaman. Hindi nyo nararamdaman yung empathy because AI nga walang emosyon yan At wala sa program nila yung the feelings of the person they're talking to or talking with. Tao lang nakakagawa niyan. Kaya mga utilities, mga service companies, please, huwag nyo masyadong i-overdo ang paggamit ng AI at robot. Nawawala yung empathy, yung human side of your customer service. Yung customer experience nagsasuffer kapag masyado tayong robotic. I am a heavy user of AI. Pero pagdating sa human touch, hindi pwedeng i-sacrifice. Alright? Gamitin yung AI in your automation, in many, yung mga trabahong repetitive. Yan, pwede yan. Mga administrative task, pwede yan. Pero yung human touch, huwag nyo pong i-delegate yan. Lalong-lalo na in dealing with your customers. Right? Compassion in customer interaction creates a sense of trust. Yun ang dahilan. And sense of connection. kapag tao talaga yung kausap. It shows customers that we value them as individuals, as human beings, and they're not just numbers or transactions. Yung mga metrics natin, transaction count, at kung ano-ano pa, yung mga click count, etc., etc. Ganun lang ba ang tao? No. Tao yan eh. Yung pong connection, wala eh. Yung sense of being valued while you're talking to a human person, not an AI person, no? Iba yun eh. Okay? It fosters, ito maganda kapag nakaramdam ang mga customers ng connection. It fosters loyalty and can even turn a dissatisfied customer into loyal advocate. Ano ibig sabihin? Mga evangelists. Magkikwento yan sa mga kaibigan nila. Sa mga social media accounts, ikikwento ka dahil napakaganda na experience nila sa inyo. Pero pag robot lang ang kausap nila at pumalpak pa, okay, fancy ang robot na service person na robot. Fancy yan. Uso lang kasi. Pero later on, mararamdaman mo walang empathy, of course. Nakakatuwa lang, pero wala pong empathy. Walang human touch. Kaya eventually, hindi rin magiging successful yan. Okay? Kaya ako, naniniwala pa rin ako pagdating sa human touch, customer service, human touch pa rin ang champion. At hindi kung ano pang mga high-tech gadgets and equipment. Alright? So, compassion, wag nyo na i-delegate sa robot at AI. Tao talaga dapat yan. Next, eto po. Kapag na-visit si customer, whatever transactions they have with you, they may not honor that anymore. Baka sirain na nila yung contract. Sa susunod, di na kayo kunin yan. Okay? Kasi wala silang maramdaman na compassion, na wala silang maramdaman na empathy, wala maramdaman na genuine concern. They only feel that they are numbers. They are milking cows. Alright? So, think about the time when you encounter the customer service representative who seemed indifferent to your concerns. Naku, maraming beses na yan. How did it make you feel? Di ba nakakainis? Chances are, you left the interaction feeling frustrated, unheard, should I say, and perhaps even inclined to take your business elsewhere. Ako talagang lumilipat ako. And before I leave them, sinasabi ko talaga na kung bakit ako lumipat. Para aral na rin sa kanila yun, no? Parang tips for improvement, but I will never go back. No way. Walang MacArthur na mangyayari na I shall return. Bago na ang pupuntahan ko. Next, impact on organizational reputation and customer loyalty. Ayan, syempre, gaganda ang brand mo. Kakalat sa industriya na ang galing-galing ng kumpanya mo pagdating sa customer relations because that is your strategy and the offshoot, loyal customers. Alright? So, in a nutshell, strategies for cultivating compassion in customer-facing roles, kailangan may empathy, marunong ng active listening or empathic listening, mayroong genuine concern or malasakit, yung kanilang decision-making should not be favoring only the company, but maski paano dapat mutual ang benefit ng mga decisions, no? Hindi naman kasi pwedeng puro customer lang ang pagbibigyan natin. Paano naman yung profitability? So, balanse. Kitang-kita ng customers na fair ka. And finally, huwag po natin kalimutan, let us celebrate compassionate behavior. When people are demonstrating it, let them feel the triumph of being able to demonstrate compassionate behavior. Okay? Let's reinforce that positively in the company. So, in a nutshell, importante po, integrate compassion in every customer experience. Customer will love you if you do that. You will stand out in the competition. Kasi yung iba, maring siguro may mga robot at AI sila, pero wala pa ring malinaw na genuine concern and compassion and empathy. And kayo, meron nun. And they will stay, the customers will stay with you and help you too by bringing more and more customers for you. Alright? So, ito na tayo. Building blocks na. Ito na yata yung huli kong module. Okay? Okay, so, ang una po nating element in our building block. So, magtatayo na tayo, no? Una, sabi, nabanggit na natin to kanina, lead by example. All right? We have to make sure that our leaders show compassion in every way. All right? So it's time for them to realize the importance of compassion or compassionate workplace culture. Okay? Kasi yung iba, yung nagsasabing hindi ko personality yan, again, i-emphasize nyo, hindi mo nga personality, pero palagay ko, sir, pwede mo i-develop to. Kasi meron namang mga behavioral indicators and mga desirable behaviors that you can demonstrate. And eventually, habang ginagawa mo to, magiging habit na sa'yo at magiging second nature. Why? Because it's a self-help. When you demonstrate compassion in the workplace, people's productivity goes up, bababa ang turnover, yung mga may mental health issues ay na-alleviate because maganda ka na mag-touring, flexible ka na in many ways, and you're approachable and accessible. Kaya gaganda yung work experience nila, no? And marami pa. And that will set the tone. It will play a pivotal role in fostering compassion. Number 2, communicating the importance of compassion in all your meetings. Dahil nga ikaw yung leader by example among your colleagues, your staff members, even to your boss, ipakita mo kung ano ang compassion. Okay? Kung di nila kayang gawin, ikaw ang maging ehemplo. Communication is key. Leaders, your ability to articulate why compassion matters, how it contributes to healthy work environment, and the positive impact it has on both your individual employees and the organization as a whole, that is crucial. It's about creating a shared understanding and a collective commitment to fostering compassion. All right? Eto na. Next, workshops on empathy and active listening. Nabanggit ko na ito kanina. Make sure that there is always a topic about active listening, about empathy and empathizing, or as mas maganda kung meron ko talagang separate module on emotional intelligence and how to apply them. Huwag niyong gawing parang preaching lang the principles and concepts. Make sure na meron talagang role play at na practice nila yung mga specific scenarios where they can demonstrate these competencies under emotional intelligence, yung self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, and relationship management plus motivation. All right? So, the workshops, very important yan. Next, incorporate compassion in your performance evaluation. Dapat merong specific measure or metrics doon, siguro several metrics about compassion in order for managers, supervisors, and others, including the rank and file, to understand that you really mean business here. When it comes to compassion, you are measuring their behavior the moment they demonstrate that during specific times, crises, difficulties, or kahit walang ganon, their behavior is being measured and they get credit for demonstrating the desirable behavior. Now, sa simula siguro parang fake lang nila yung behavior nila, no? Kasi mini-measure, no? Sabi nga ng kasabihan, what you cannot measure, you cannot control, but what you measure, you can control. You're basically controlling their behavior, you're shaping their behavior. Eventually, kung una fake nila, eventually magiging habit nila yan hanggang maging second nature na nila. Next, make sure that you are practicing flexibility in work arrangement. Okay? Flexibility is the cornerstone of compassion. Okay? Recognizing that individuals have diverse needs and responsibilities outside work, providing flexible work environments can make a difference. Importante po yan. So, kaya kung lahat naman tayo meron na, no? Baka pwede nyong i-adapt pa rin ang hybrid work arrangement, ang online meetings, kahit walang pandemya. Okay? Kesa yung rigidly, kailangan lahat pumasok dito. Kung mga knowledge workers naman yung mga employees mo, some of them are, yung physical presence is not really necessary. So why not, di ba? Think out of the box. Sometimes we have to educate the conservative executive leaders who does not believe in that work arrangement. Dahil hindi unfair yan sa iba. Kailangan pumasok kayo lahat dito. Face to face tayo. Sama-sama tayo dito. Kahit mag-suffer yung productivity ng iba. Style nyo yun eh. Pero nakita ko na sa marami kong client at marami kong kaibigang employers, very flexible sila. Flexible in terms of work arrangement. Pati yung schedule, may yung iba pinagmamalaki 5-day work week. There's one 4-day work week. Kakabilib. At gumagamit pa sila ng mga online hybrid work arrangement. And finally, itong recognition and celebration of compassionate acts. Nabanggit ko na to. Make sure that you have celebration of people who have demonstrated compassionate acts. Departments, no? The most compassionate department, probably. And make compassion really something na hindi lang hype or uso. Make it a culture, a way of life in the organization. The way things are around here. Ang ganda pakinggan, ano? That's the way things are around here. Kaya naramdaman ng customer namin yan. Kaya yung customer talagang tawag dito, nandiyan dyan, loyal at nagdadala pa ng maraming referrals. And our company is growing and growing because of the culture of compassion. All right? Recognition, positive reinforcement. All right, key learning points. Talk about it, but walk the talk. Hindi puro dada. Kailangan may gawa. Huwag ngawa. Kailangan gawa. Alright? Integrate it in all your trainings. Alright? Mention it in all your meetings. Okay? Integrate it in your performance management system. And make sure that you are again considering the importance of flexible work schedule because it is magic. It is magic. I tell you, I saw that among my clients. They implemented it and talagang yung mga mabababa ang production, mga knowledge workers ito ayun, talagang gumanda ang kanilang performance dahil naramdaman nila yung malasakit ng kanilang kumpanya and sinusuklian nila to ng malasakit din, pagmamalasakit sa kumpanya. Genuine care for them, lalong-lalo na for their mental health. And there are a lot of strategies that you can adopt in doing that. Not only sponsoring mindfulness meditation in the office, you can even hire an institution or a group who will listen to their sentiments. Kasi hindi po tayo makagawa niyan, mga managers, hindi tayo trained counselors. But there are trained counselors out there, institutions and organizations whose business is to listen to employees who are having troubles, difficulties, emotional difficulties, and mental problems. Right? Trabaho po nila yan. Let us avail of that. And finally, recognition. All right. So, as leaders, bibilisan ko na, develop your emotional intelligence. Importante po yan. Second, recognize and understand emotions of others. When you start applying what you learned in emotional intelligence, meron ka ng awareness of others, lalawak na yung awareness mo, yung empathy mo, mas madali na sa yung maintindihan kung ba't nagkakaganon ang nararamdaman yung ibang ng mga tao ninyo, no? Recognize and understand emotion. And then, tayo din, no? Anger management, regulate your emotion, especially when you are expressing it. Sometimes, nakakawala po yan. We express it inappropriately and wala na. It has caused the damage already. Hindi mo na mabawi. Pag lumabas pa naman sa bibig mo yung bad word, hindi mo na pwede higupin ulit dahil gusto mong bawiin. Ando na yun eh. Kaya, kailangan mag-ingat tayo. Self-regulation. That's one of the things that you will learn in emotional intelligence. Kaya, yung po mga managers na arrogant, at walang pakialam sa emosyon ng iba, ay mag-anger management po kayo. Anger management is the solution, and that's part of learning the emotional intelligence thing. Kasama po yan sa dinidiscuss ko kapag kinukonda ko yung emotional intelligence as part of one of the modules ng leadership training na dinidesign ko for different companies. All right, next, encouraging open communication and feedback. Meron ba kayong feedback system? Okay, meron kayong employee climate survey, organizational climate survey, pero yung iba for compliance purposes lang. Make sure that when you conduct a survey, meron talagang aksyon, may pagbabago nangyayari. At hindi lang data. Okay, ito yung data natin ngayon sa OCS, sa Employee Satisfaction Survey, pero wala namang pagbabago. Nakaka-disappoint. Next year, wala nang gustong sumali sa survey. Tapos gagawin mandatory na ngayon. Mandatory, everybody should. Ayun. Puro neutral ang sagot. Number 3, from 1 to 5, puro 3. Playing safe sila ngayon. Kasi hindi talaga sincere. Kailangan yung feedback mechanism natin talagang sincero tayo, nagagamitin natin to para sa tunay na pagbabago sa kumpanya. Alright? And when we talk to our people, we are also open to listening to feedback. Huwag tayong mapipikon. Ibang managers, nag-360 degrees feedback sila nung in-appraise sila ng kanilang mga empleyado, nagalit. Aba, paano naman yan? Okay? Sino na ang magsasabi ng katotohanan? Lahat, pipikein na nila. No? Kasi yung gusto mo marinig, praise. Sa totoo lang, you don't deserve it kung talagang bad manager ka. I didn't like your feedback about me in the climate survey. Paano ikaw yan Feedback yan, salamin mo yan no? So, you'd rather be open-minded and be a sport, man. Kagawan mo rin yan Okay? Kaya tuloy yung mga tao takot na. Wala namang, meron bang fear of reprisal, no? Natatakot na silang baka balikan. Kaya pinipeke na lang nila yung sagot na. So it defeats the purpose. Sayang. Okay? Next, create a culture of trust and psychological safety. Maraming strategies yan. Trust is the currency of leadership. When leaders create an environment where team members feel psychologically safe to share their thoughts and concerns, it sets the stage for compassionate leadership. And yun, sabi ko nga kanina, ask for feedback, no? So, and next, eto malapit na, establish mentorship program. Great mentorship program, okay? And establish mentorship programs to multiply compassionate people, all right? And then offer support during tough times. Eto po, be accessible and approachable. May mga managers and supervisors na approachable pero hindi mo ma-reach, hindi accessible sa telephone, sa email kasi busy. At wala siyang time sa mga tao niya. Pero approachable siya. Meron namang iba accessible pero hindi mo malapitan. Nakabukas nga yung pinto, sabi niya open door policy raw siya. Pero mukha siyang leon na mananagpang anytime. Na pag pumasok ka, parang pumasok sa lion's den sa kanyang kwarto. Sino ang papasok? Okay? Accessible pero hindi approachable. Dapat pareho yan. Accessible ka at approachable ka. Right. Sample companies locally, ang mga compassionate companies, Aboitiz, Globe, Maybank, Ayala Corporation, Philippine Airlines. Sila yung bayanihan, yung Aboitiz People First policy or culture, Ayala caring for one another, Maybank humanizing work environment, and Globe inclusiveness, respect, collaboration. Internationally, ang mga kilala, Zappos, happiness culture, Southwest Airlines, employee happiness and well-being. Yan yung mga theme nila. Netflix, ang paborito natin, radically transparent sa mga tao nila. Google, ayan, paborito rin natin yan. Empathy, respect, and inclusion. And the Cheesecake Factory, sikat sa US, family-oriented culture. Yun po yung mga samples natin. And here's our key points. Improve and enhance emotional intelligence of your leaders and your employees. Learn from feedback and make your feedback mechanism work and make it really genuine and not just for compliance purposes. Mentorship is important to multiply your compassionate people and offer support programs to everybody. All right? So, diyan po nagwawakas yung ating topic kasi yung mga kasunod ay parang summary na lamang ito. Okay? So, it's already time. So, back to you, Sir Darwin. And other mentors, si Ma'am Tina, si Ma'am Rona, and Ma'am Jamie. So, ayun po. Kung meron po mga questions ang ating audience, please raise your questions. Pakisulat lang po sa ating comment section para basahin po natin. Alright. Back to you, mentors.
Sir, we'd like to mention the question from Sir JVC. Paano po counter ng compassion ang workplace mantra na a friend today can be a foe tomorrow? Should help provider a requirement now when looking for a great place to work?
Should a mental health provider a requirement na when looking for a great place to work? Okay. Unang-una, ang mental health
provider. Questions
ang
yata
mental
Let's
health
start with the first one.
Sige. Ang mental health provider is an external company, external entity who helps people na meron ng problema, no? So kumbaga, contingent action na 'to eh. So it can be prevented by creating a culture of compassion. So yung people who are combatant, competitive, arrogant, and envious, yun yung kulturang kinalakihan nila eh. Then, when they bring it to the workplace, yun yung sinasabi natin, a friend today can be a foe tomorrow. Narinig yung sermon kanina nung pare, ang nagiging problema lang daw ang isang tao if they look at you as their competitor. Or, kung mas mataas ka sa kanila, lamang ka sa kanila, they are envious of you. Kung tingin naman nila mas mababa ka sa kanila is if they tend to become arrogant and contemptuous of you. So basically, ang tao yung may problema nito eh. Yung kanyang orientation, yung kanyang values, yung kanyang kinalakihan. Hindi na lang niya sa opisina. Hindi matutulungan ito ng mental health kasi may problema na eh. What the mental health companies can do is to alleviate the pains, the sufferings that employees are doing. Pero yung attitude problem na ganon, it can be corrected through behavioral trainings and attitude trainings na meron na ginagawa ng maraming HR practitioners and OD practitioners. Yes, ma'am? Saying something?
Sir Allan, kasi parang it comes dun sa quote kanina. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pag yung based on dun sa quote kanina, parang it seems that the friend today who became a foe tomorrow may not necessarily have been a true friend today. Kasi lalong-lalo na sa kultura natin ngayon sa Pilipinas, 'di ba marami tayong pa-friend-friend na we want to get favorable things at work.
Yo,
Di
totoo
ba
yun.
may ganun eh. Yung kaya nga, that's the reason why
Totoo
pag
yun.
HR ka, maraming isip sa'yo eh. Kasi, nila, pag good kayo, pag nag-request, bigay. Di ba that's the reason why yung kunyari magpapautang, manghihiram ka ng pera. Hindi ka naman manghihiram sa kalaban mo eh. Manghihiram ka sa friend mo, di ba? The best friend, the better, the higher the amount. Kaya nga may uso ang ninong-ninang kasi mas malaki pag godparent ka na. Right? So, it is a problem din in the workplace, sir. How would you comment on the Filipino culture na marami dito pa best friend? Pero how do you keep the balance of still remaining objective at work? Kasi minsan dinadaan sa empathy, sympathy, and compassion para makakuha ng favorable treatment at work. Ang hirap talaga mag-say no sa best friend.
So parang ma'am, ang sinasabi mo yung mga taong manipulative, ina-exploit yung kabaitan ng iba, and baka maging part ng culture.
sometimes it's not manipulative, sometimes it's normal in our culture eh. Na pa-friend-friend. Even sa school, 'di ba, kunyari
Perfo.
mabait kayo. Tapos pag kunyari hindi mo pinagbigyan, sobrang laki ng away
Tampo.
nun. Oo.
Nagtatampo. Okay.
Nagtatampo.
Tina,
The better the friend, the more
tina,
they
tina,
retaliate.
tinalo mo sa Dota tapos hindi natuloy yung kasal nyo. Ganon. Parang ganon. Joke lang.
Mm, yeah. So how would you counter
Nakichismis pa,
that?
no? Well,
Regard,
sabi ko nga, values
uh,
formation lang yun. If the company is sincere about building a positive culture, of course, those kind of behaviors may exist. But we promote the other side of the coin. We promote the positive behaviors of being a true friend, and the concept of genuine concern, no, should be part of the culture of compassion. Nung panahon namin, pagmamalasakit ang tawag namin diyan, no, na pag pinagmalasakitan ka, pakita mo rin na ikaw ay marunong mag-reciprocate, pagtanaw ng utang na loob, tawag namin diyan. And it worked during the 90s, no? Late 80s during the entire decade of 90s, yung malasakit culture. So yung mga, excuse me for the term, pero yun yung mga manipulative o yung mga taong madali magtampo dahil hindi napagbigyan, yung mga taong
mm,
um, mabait kapag makailangan pero pag wala na, sorry ka na lang. That kind of behavior is being discouraged during those kinds of training by mentioning those values of pagtanaw ng utang na loob, pagmamalasakit, pakiksama, pakikitungo, pakikiramay, awa, unawa, okay, paggalang, what have you. All of these Filipino values really work. Now, translate that into English or whatever language is applicable dun sa organization, compassion pa rin yun eh. Trust, empathy, etc. Kapag pinipromote natin ito, lalo na ng mga leaders, and they set themselves as good examples, they can be the best people who can talk about it and preach the gospel. Kasi they do it. Kaya kung meron sila mga employees na ganito, siguro part na ng counseling or coaching that they discourage this kind of behavior. Sa experience ko lang yung mama, at opinion ko, but
mm,
they may have other strategies.
yeah.
Hey,
Kasi
Alan, I have a question. Sorry,
go,
Martina. Sige, go. Sige. But Alan, I have a question. We know that a lot of companies are now using a lot of behavioral-based examinations. Di ba normally, yung mga multinational companies, merong mga cognitive exams, behavioral exams. And we all know there's a scientific way of identifying high potential candidates or candidates that are truly aligned to your company's culture. But I myself have encountered applicants who would question that, who would say that, Sir, paano niyo naman masasabi na I am not culturally fit or behaviorally fit to be part of your organization when you don't even know me as a person, or hindi po ba dapat I will be able to learn from the culture of the company and grow into the organization. How would you counter that? How would you weigh in as scientific behavioral exam that most companies are giving into where companies also have the obligation to train and create culture and train the people to align with their culture. Kasi
Mm-mm.
kung apples to apples, sabihin natin pareho ng education qualification, skills qualification, and whatnot. Pero the result of the behavioral or cognitive test is very different and mas aligned yung scores na dun sa need or requirement ng company. The person might think, what would be, is it my fault or is it the fault of the person, since the assumption is it's when I get on board, that's the time that I can really imbibe the culture of the organization.
Alright. Ganito yun, sir, no? Iba pag mga fresh grads, mga bago lang sa corporate, open-minded tayo dyan eh. We give them a lot of chance to grow with us, to learn these values. Pero if you're hiring somebody for a very critical position like a manager or a technical supervisor or an executive, we assume that this person already has a strong foundation when it comes to core values and positive behavior. Kaya meron tayong, aside from these aptitude tests and personality tests, meron tayong behavioral interviewing. And ako, talagang pinapagamit ko sa mga clients ko yung emotional intelligence interviewing or EQ interviewing. Walang lusot. Kasi that kind of interviewing, yes, parang behavioral interviewing, pero focused on the different competencies of EQ, no? Your questions are talagang tailored towards bringing out the person's tendency for a
Real life
particular
scenarios, no?
situation.
Are you speaking
That's
of real
right.
life scenarios?
That's right. So mga situationers that you will ask the person what he will or she will demonstrate when he or she is exposed to that kind of situation. So predictive. Okay? So from those answers, yung kanilang experiences in the past, makikita mo na kung ano yung mga possible behavior nila when they are hired. So it's now up to you. I-hire ko ba itong napakatalinong manager na to, pero sa kanyang kwento, lagi siyang naninigaw ng mga tao niya at mukhang normal na sa kanya yun dahil naniniwala siya, yun yung values niya. Naniniwala siya na he can get results, he can raise productivity by raising his blood pressure. Hindi aligned yun sa core values ninyo. So, it's a risk. I know one headhunter na hindi siya naniniwala sa psychometric evaluation, sa behavioral interviewing. Basta technical, okay siya, pasok. Pinapasok niya basta nag-match yung technical requirement sa mga technical experience ng tao. Ano nangyari? Nagbalikan sa kanya, nag-resign yung mga tao, bumalik sa kanya yung client. O umalis yung tao mo dahil nangangaway dito, ang galing-galing nga, nangangaway naman ng mga kapwa empleyado. So, palitan mo yung binayaran na namin sa'yo. Look, kung ikaw yung headhunter, 3 beses ka na nagpapalit kasi ayaw mo ng behavioral interviewing, ayaw mo ng mga ganyang metrics dahil gusto mo lang technical, you will suffer. How much more yung company na hindi gumagamit ng headhunter, na diniretso lang nila pagpasok sa kumpanya nila na meron palang behavioral problem yung tao. Kaya talaga importante siya.
Mentor Allan, there's a question on the comment section.
Yes, meron po tayo dito from Carla Perez. How do we deal with the subordinate more experienced than I think seniors ang ibig sabihin. More experienced than seniors.
Naguluhan din ako dyan eh.
Who wants to maintain an image na superior sila and believe that they should still be feared by lower ranks when dealing with them. So, paano po ba yun na, lalo na yung mga matatagal na, tenured na, tapos yung biglang yung kanilang team member mas may alam sa kanila. Pero dahil syempre, alam mo na, ego, gusto nila sila pa rin yung kinakatakutan at kailangan sila ang susundin. Kahit na may mas magandang suggestion yung kanilang team member.
Ay, nako, maraming ganyan. Maraming. In fact, one company na uwi sa strike dahil they are hiring highly qualified technical employees. Tapos nung nakapasok na, binubuli nito mga senior managers or senior leaders because nai-insecure. So, how you deal with that? Simple lang, kailangan yung inyong leadership training, mga kaibigan, mga kapwa ko HR and L&D and OD, make sure that part ng inyong leadership training ay yung pong paggalang naman dun sa pagkatao ng kanilang staff members. So, we're not just here to deliver results, no, through whatever means. Meron tayong magandang strategy in bringing out the best in our people, and that's balancing act of task orientation and people orientation. Back to basics tayo, napakasimple. Blake-Newton managerial grid lang yan. Now, kung gusto niyo yung mga medyo mas mataas na level, you can talk about transformational leadership and make sure that you you are, again, EQ. You train your managers and supervisors and yung mga foremen or team leaders on the concepts of emotional intelligence. Masyadong highfalutin, baka magdugo ilong. Simple na lang, yung magandang pakikitungo, pakikisama at pakiramay para makuha nila yung kabutihang asal ng mga tao. Sila rin maging isang mabuting halimbawa ang kabutihang asal. It's reciprocity in action. Yun lang po yung aking masasabi yan dahil through experience and as a consultant of these different companies, na-prevent po namin yun, yung pag-aalsa ng mga tao. There's one company na yung mga tao nila, hindi sila nag-aalsa kahit na ang kanilang sahod ay hindi naman kataasan. Nung tinanong, bakit nag-i-stick kayo sa kumpanyang to? Very loyal kayo. Ano sabi? Ang ganda ng pagturing sa amin dito eh. Pamilya kami rito. Ando doon yung pagbumalasakit ng may-ari. Nakipagsabayan pa sa amin sa lunch yan. Every lunch, kasabay namin. Nagkakamay din yan. Nararamdaman namin na hindi kami kaiba. So, that's just an example. No? Pero kung maramdaman nila na malayo, ang hirap maabot itong mga managers na to, kung ituring sila parang we're just paying you, you're just hired hands, not hired brains. So, wag kayong magsalita dyan. We don't agree with your opinion. Kahit matalino pa kayo, you're not supposed to be giving me your ideas because you're just a hired hand. Makinig ka lang, ako magdedesisyon dito. Sarap lagyan ng sound effects. Take 2, maling-mali yan. Di ba? Kasi sinasayang nila yung talent nila just because they're insecure, just because they want to stay the bida ng kanilang department, just because they want to continue to be the expert in their department.
Coach Allan, may question ako sa'yo. Yung generation ng, yung mga Gen Xers, yung mga early millennials, usually, madali nating masabi na management has to set the tone with them and show compassion, show maturity, to develop then yung maturity on their end. But the incoming workforce, the Gen Zs and the Gen Alpha, medyo iba kasi yung kanilang upbringing and medyo iba yung mundong ginagalawan nila. So much so that one of the most common comments about Gen Alpha and Gen Zs is that there's always this self-entitlement and yung me first na mindset at yung ako yung victim. So ang nangyayari ngayon is expectation nila is that people should pander to them. And ang hirap noon when you're trying to build consciousness, when you're trying to build EQ, when you're trying to build loyalty and malasakit. Kasi ang expectation nila palagi is dapat may malasakit kayo sa pinagdadaanan ko, to the point na nasasakripisyo naman na yung mental health din ng ibang tao kasi hindi sila makapagtrabaho because pag nasita nila yung mga medyo may kabataan pa na nasa workforce ngayon, parang ang palaging nagiging balik sa kanila is nape-pressure ako, yung mental health ko nagsasuffer. So, ngayon yung mga mas matatanda na mga workers, they tend to work on eggshells or walk on eggshells. Pagdating dun sa mga Gen Zs at mga Gen Alpha, nawala si Mentor Allan, na-disconnect si Mentor Allan. So, siguro for the rest of you here, anong thoughts nyo about that?
I often wonder, kasi sa akin lang ha, I'm very sensitive to admitting employees, regardless of age, gender, and rank, to those who do not respect other people inside the organization. Actually, pag simula pa lang ng first week nila, kitang-kita na kung sino yung walang compassion and to others. I only have one rule kasi when accepting applicants eh. Bawal maging selfish. So you can feel the selfishness dun pa lang sa interview eh. The people who are selfish are usually more impatient. They have less regard for other people inside the organization. They do not treat people who are not the interviewer with much respect. Pag simula pa lang ng orientation, they do not take down notes. They pretend to listen. Tapos pagdating ng, tapos nagmamarunong. Tapos pagdating ng test, bagsak naman. Kasi hindi nga nakikinig. And then magpapaturo. And sasabihin kasi na ang problema, hindi yung sarili nila, pero yung trainer na nagtitrain sa kanila. When that comes, I'm very, very sensitive on the first 3 days to 12 days of anybody entering, regardless of age. I don't care kung pangit ka, kung anong identity mo. Pero it's very important for me that you respect the rules and regulations of the company and the other people who are there with you. Kasi if you're going to make it all about you, I'm always afraid that admitting one entitled person in the organization will breed an entire organization of people who feel entitled that the organization should give them things just because they are present.
True.
Mas maganda sometimes na yung magaling na tao na yun, mapaalis mo na sa maaga pa. Kahit na kailangan mo pa. Kaysa mawala pa lahat ng tao na nagtiis sa'yo during their tenure who are part of your organization na matagal na. Yun nga yung nakakaasar sa isang organization. Parang yung mabait na hindi nagrereklamo. Yun lagi yung hindi nakakakuha ng salary increase, performance bonus. Yung taong nagrereklamo, yun pa yung laging pinagbibigyan. Tapos binibigyan ng additional, etc., in light of you trying to be compassionate to that other person. Case in point, for example, di ba may mga solo parent tayo na organization? And syempre, they have needs, you know? Pero there's also rules and regulations to how to avail those leaves or how to yung give treatment to them. Meron naman karapatan sa batas yun eh. Ang problema lang minsan kasi may emergency. Pag, di ba, syempre, nanay din naman ako, nabuntis din naman ako. So I find that many HR managers who are female tend to really sympathize with those who are solo parents if they are also solo parent. Kasi they feel it eh. They empathize with it eh. So, kunyari, pag may emergency, approved agad. Pero pag yung lalaki may emergency, ang daming tanong, ang daming requirement. Kasi nga, parang walang karapatan yung lalaking magkaroon ng same type of leave, right? So, for me lang, we have to exercise caution in approving requests, especially from those who have less, who are more kawawa. Because minsan nauuna na yung kawawa na nakakalimutan natin yung na parang marami pa tayo sa tao sa organization na kawawa din kasi hindi sila pinagbibigyan kasi capable sila. Kasi hindi sila poor, kasi hindi sila they don't look the part, they look very sufficient. I think we need to give parang attention to those who are competent and working and not complaining and reliably going to work day in and day out because they are the ones that keep your organization going. The problems of those mas kawawa are 20%, pero you're always trying to approve their leaves. It has to be fair. Every single person in the organization, you extend compassion to. Hindi lang those that look for your sympathy. And I think if you do that, parang it seems na the organization will move forward because everybody thinks that it is fair. If you have the strength to say no to somebody who's crying, ang hirap kaya nun, umiiyak-iyak na sa harapan mo, pero totoo talaga, hindi talaga pwede kasi pag ina-approve mo, yung ibang tao magre-reklamo. It's so tough. How do you do it, Sir Alan? It's not easy, but you have to do it eh. Kasi if you don't, masisira talaga yung culture ng organization mo.
Oo. Well, may tinatawag naman tayong active listening or empathic listening. Pero, i-uphold mo pa rin yung company policies. Kaya ang approach yan, naintindihan ko yung kalagayan mo. Ako man malagay sa sitwasyon mo, ganyan din mararamdaman ko. Ngayon, dapat mo rin intindihin na meron tayong policy. Pero dapat mo rin intindihin na meron tayong sinusunod na mga batas dito na hindi basta-basta pwedeng baliin. Kasi, pamamarisan tayo ng ibang tao. We have to be fair. May tinatawag tayong firm, fair, pero kind and clear. Di ba? Pag pinagagalitan natin yung bata or sinasabihan natin, we have to be kind in our approach at we want to be clear kung bakit. Tapos kung meron tayong decision, grounded siya, you want to be firm. Pero we want to be fair. Grounded ka for today, hindi naman buong taon. Di ba? The same with employees. We are kind, we are clear when we tell them kung hindi pwede talaga. Tapos, it should be firm. And at the same time, it should be fair. We have to explain to them. We're just being fair to everybody. Kaya ganun ang decision ko.
I have a
And,
hard question, po, sir.
sige ma'am.
Yung, di ba minsan sinasabi natin na approving a request does not necessarily mean that you will approve future requests. Kasi as management or as authorized representative of management, company does have the freedom to grant requests beyond the policy.
Prerogative niya yun eh. Tsaka
Prerogative
case to
mo yun
case. Oh.
Mm-mm. Pero the question is, where do you draw the line? Kasi sa totoo
Yun.
lang, ang hirap mag-say ng no. And minsan, ang defense natin ng case-to-case basis, nag-show talaga yung favoritism pala ng manager sa isang empleyado because lagi kang umuoo sa pag siya, pero pag iba naman nagsasabi, hindi naman. How do you balance yung case-to-case basis, quote and unquote, ng approval na nangyayari sa isang kumpanya?
Unang-una yung manager mismo mag-values formation muna eh. Kasi mukhang hindi niya alam kung ano talaga yung humanitarian reason sa favoritism. Pag naintindihan niya na if she decides on a matter na tinatawag nilang serious and grave out of humanitarian reason, that can be understood by everybody. Everybody will understand that's for humanitarian reason. Kaya pinagbigyan. Pero yung hiling ko, hindi naman to humanitarian reason, para sa leisure lang to ng pamilya ko eh. So may isip din nila na the boss is just being fair. Something like that. I guess that is going to be, kaya sinasabi ko, the leader there should undergo a values formation himself first para malaman niya, ba't ganun ako sa tao ko na ito versus ito mga ito? Am I really being fair or I'm just playing favorite? Something like that. Self-awareness again. Let's go back to EI, no? Emotional intelligence. And that will help him regulate his emotion and favoritism dun sa tao. Yun, relationship management. Nasagot ko na ba?
Yep.
Yun. May
No problem.
tanong si Ma'am Rona kanina about Gen Z saka Alpha, naputol yung aking signal. Ma'am, sa totoo lang, yan po ang number one na pinoproblema ng napakaraming leaders abroad and locally. Kasi wala pang data and proven techniques. Kasi bagong pasok nga sila sa workforce. But psychologists and behavioral scientists have something to say about it. Basic thing, you have to understand their sentiments, understand where they're coming from. Sakyan mo kung ano yung mundo nila. And I have a Xennial son, hindi ko masyadong nakakausap dahil very silent. Meron silang sariling mundo, and that's the virtual world. They are always into online gaming, and meron man siya social life. Kaya lang sa aming family, hindi siya talaga ganun ka-open, no? And he only opens kapag in-engage mo siya. Hindi siya nag-initiate. So dun ko nakita. Anong common denominator namin? Rock music. Ayun, inalam ko kung ano yung mga bagong rock musicians ngayon. Shinare ko naman sa kanya yung mga classical rock musics noon. And dun kami nagkasundo na ngayon, nakikinig na ako ng Radiohead, tsaka ng mga weird na music nila noon, tsaka mga weird na music namin noon. Tapos, after having that common denominator, unti-unti ko na siyang in-introduce sa mga core values na gusto kong ma-imbibe niya. First, you have to understand where they're coming from. Get a common denominator. Pag nagkasakaya na kayo, doon mo na sila i-educate. In the corporate world, ang mga kabataan ngayon nasa digital world. Gamitin po natin technology kasi dyan kayo pwede mag-usap eh. And during your training, i-engage nila sa role-playing. I-engage po ninyo sila sa case studies. Ang tatalino niyan. Ang gagaling. Ang very idealistic. And they want subjects that will talagang challenge their principles and desires and values. At matutuwa ka. Mas mature pa sila mag-isip minsan sa mga millennials. mas advanced, mas entrepreneurial, at mas marami silang mga opinion sa mga issues around the world. So, let us not look down on them and underestimate them. Sakyan mo lang muna kung nasan yung strength nila at hilahin mo sila towards the core values of the company by using those means na available tayo at sa atin na training. Online, pinakagusto nila online training. So, face-to-face, i-role play mo. Dahil lalo kung may introduce po ninyo yung online role playing, virtual role playing, nako, sakay nila yan. Use technology. That is what they want and that is theirs. Kaya ka nga weakness, no? Hindi not weakness to the negative sense, kundi yun yung diyan kayo magkakaroon ng common ground, something like that. I hope I was able to answer that.
Jamie, you're going to work for Disney in the next couple of weeks. And Disney is known to have a very inclusive culture. How do you perceive working in a foreign company and dealing with compassion? Do you even think it is a concern? Because it's very inclusive, but at the same time, I would think that maybe it's a little bit more professional. Walang iiyak yata sa Disney eh. Could you share your experiences with us?
Yeah, sure. Linking it with that, yung sinasabi rin kanina, when we were talking about the Gen Zs, actually marami akong na-train na Gen Zs kasi meron kaming older generations, millennials, marami kaming Zs talaga. So, ang masasabi ko lang sa mga Zs, they're fun to work with. So, tayo na medyo, let us just say, ahead tayo ng ilang years sa kanila. All we simply have to do, just like what Alan had mentioned, understand where they're coming from. And kumbaga, see them also, although they're younger in years, that they have something to bring to the table.
Yes.
Kasi wag yung parang, oy, senior ako sa inyo, kailangan walang ganon. Sa amin kasi it's more on, okay, hi, kumbaga, and then we respect. Siguro malaking value yung respect. Na regardless of age, di ba kanina pinag-uusapan natin sa form nga, wag na tingnan yung age, wag tingnan yung gender. Mismo sa face-to-face din, like I train them and they actually have great sense. Pero ako nga, meron actually nag-ask sa akin din. He's one of the directors din. And sabi niya, so we will be ibang company naman. So ikaw, if you will be handling it, kasi puro Gen Zs kami. Sabi nila, so how will you handle it? And since siguro pinapertain niya yung age ko, compared, young pa rin naman. So I'm still 18. I still feel 18. Sabi ko ganito, sabi ko sa kanya, you know what? If there's one thing, I believe, kasi parang inaano niya is, we have to adjust to the Zs. So sabi ko naman sa kanya, balance eh. Sabi ko, there are things that Zs can bring to the table, but there are those that we can also bring to the table. I think, babalansin natin sila. And what I mean is, tingnan natin yung ideas, creativity, kasi daw nila fresh, young. So I agree with that. But the professionalism, we have to instill in that. Because exactly what Ron had mentioned, meron sila talaga natural characteristics na adapt because of the environment that they are the digital natives, right? So the digital natives usually, hindi nila naranasan yung endurance, yung patience, yung tayo na talagang we evolve in that. So yun yung sabi ko sa kanya na, if you will let me handle that, then I'll make sure na balance. Sabi niya, kasi sabi ko, hindi ko sinasabing mali ka, but I will not be pleasing them all the time. I mean, I'm a trainer, so it means that I have to shape them up. So, kailangan yon, napaka-important. And that's what I learned also overseas. Kasi sa overseas naman, basta may respect ka. Kumbaga, hindi talaga inaano yung age, basta may respect. And then kahit bata sila, you value what they are actually giving to the table. And then kapag, yun, siguro yung word na assertiveness, yung firm, gusto ko yung kanina sinabi na, pinag-uusapan natin, be firm, pero yung compassion, dun papasok yon. Be firm, but be assertive. Because assertiveness means, you will say what you have to say, you tell them if they are beyond their line, but may tactfulness. Hindi ka pupunta sa border ng aggressiveness, hindi rin tayo magpapaka-passive, walang paligoy-ligoy, don't beat around the bush, sayang ng oras doon. Sabihin na natin, okay, like I had a trainee, Z, training. Sabi nga ni Tina kanina, di ba, first 3 days yan yung tinitingnan na natin eh. Kasi ako, I work with the whole, lahat ng department trainers. Ako yung pinaka, kumbaga, learning and development manager. So, sa akin, dumadaan muna lahat, onboarding, bago mag-department. So, nagno-note na ako niyan. Parang kay Tina, mental, and then kapag may behavioral something, nag-heads up na ako sa department. Kasi we are partners for success. So, I tell them, like mga Z's, sasabi ko, oh, ito yung na-observe ko, sinabihan ko na naganda, can you please make sure follow up pag nasa department mo na kung anong ginagawa. And then true enough, makikita naman natin yan like after 1 week kung talagang yung sabi nga ni natin kanina, kung meron siya mga issues na hindi fit, then at least may heads up na sila. So nagtutulungan, I think, sa department. And kami naman, it's more on, I think natutunan ko rin sa kanila at na-appreciate is yung core values. Nililive natin yan to the core. Pero kahit na anong international company, sabi ko nga, kanina when Alan was discussing it, sabi ko, gusto ko yung mga C person na yan. Kasi at least may compassion. Ano ba yung nagtatanggal ng compassion? So I was thinking, high-pressured situation. So siguro yun lang na kailangan nga yung EI kasi kapag nasa high-pressured situation, dapat alam natin yung hot buttons para at least bago tumaas yun, ay we actually know. And sometimes, pag hindi natin naiintindihan ang Z's, bakit pwedeng buttons ng mga higher generation yan. So, yun lang yung gusto kong sabihin. Pag once we join, whether local or international, acceptance. And then at the same time, if ever they say something na like you, kasi ano sila hindi sila tayo, yung tayo kasi is more on medyo mapo and opo. Yung parang ano tayo, very, very magalang. Sila kasi parang diretso sila talaga. May mga ilan na ganun magsalita. Don't feel offended kasi it is the way they are and just be assertive sa kanila na, okay, I understand that, that's quite great. And then, lagay nyo lang sila sa lugar na tamang pagkakalagyan kung sakasakaling medyo lumalagpas na sila. And make sure the values are there. At siguro yung natutunan ko rin sa mga Z's, I believe maintindihan natin lahat yung from HR, we sometimes have to really translate to them how does your core value looks like in action. Kasi hindi pa nila naintindihan. And if they came from another company and keep comparing the other company's culture sa atin, ang sinasabi ko, that's another company. So ngayon may bago tayong culture, hindi lang culture from different nationalities, but we have to ensure na kung kasama yung compassionate doon, then I have to literally tell them, okay, so this is how it means na may compassion. And lastly, yung nagtanong kanina sa foe and friend, siguro iwasan na lang natin yung isang people, type C na people, yung chismis. Kasi kapag chinichismis ka na, alam ba, may taong nagchichismis na sa'yo, naririnig mo siyang chinichismis sa ibang tao, mag-ingat ka na. Don't share anything confidential because baka ikaw na yung binibilao niyang buhay mo na yung nilalako niya sa iba. So, yun lang naman yung gusto kong i-share. So, make sure that at least may we be the people who are with that compassion, whatever generation they might be, and iwasan natin yung pagchichismis sa ibang tao. And if people offend you, forgive. Ayan, over to you and kay Rona.
Ayan, okay. So I think ako na nag-extend na naman tayo sa ating schedule. Napakaganda ng ating talakayan. So any last words po from our guest speaker for today, Coach Allan? Last words po, and probably invite them to any upcoming webinar, seminars, workshops that you have, anything that you'd like to promote.
Yeah, thank you, Mentor Rona. Isa lang pwede ko sabihin, if you will sum up everything, when you imbibe a culture of compassion, the bottom line outcome will be you're making your employees fall in love with your company. When employees fall in love with their companies, they do their best to make your products and service excel. Therefore, in the process, you make your customers fall in love again with your company. And in doing so, your employers will fall in love with you. Therefore, what will be the effect? The so-called love will be always in the air. Compassion will always be in the air. And that is basically the the culture of compassion in action. Yung pagmamalasakit, empathy, listening, genuine concern, natural na sa tao yan eh. Hindi lang natin mailabas dahil biglang nag-iba tayo ng orientation, Western orientation. Pero Western countries, Western businesses are learning from us Asians, and they're already adopting that. Okay? They're already adopting the compassion. Tinawag nilang compassion, pero sa atin matagal na yan. Pagmamalasakit. Okay? At buhayin ulit natin tong kulturang ito kasi maraming kumpanya ang naging successful dito eh. Nung panahon ng martial law na usong-uso ang strike, kasi masyadong legalistic at militaristic ang approach ng mga kumpanya noon eh. Pero nung pinasok ang pagmamalasakit, ito ang mga anthropologists na Pilipino, ang Filipino values ni Tomas Andres at ni Francisco, core values ni Landa Hocano. Ang ganda ng naging epekto, pero unti-unti na namang nawala. So, ibalik natin. Tayo nasa HR, no, at OD, siguro yun yung mission natin. Panatilihin natin yung kultura ng pagmamalasakit. Wag lang masyadong Western or other countries culture. Balik tayo sa ating pinakamalapit na kulturang Pilipino. Yung iba takot sa malasakit dahil malas na sakit pa. Hindi po yun ibig sabihin ng malasakit. Ibig sabihin nun, malasin mo naman aking hirap at pasakit. Behold, look at what my difficulties. And in the middle of my difficulties, what are you going to do? Action. That's compassion. Di ba? Empathizing and acting on helping others to alleviate their difficulties and sufferings. That's compassion. Pagmamalasakit is equivalent to compassion. Back to you, Ma'am Tina. Ma'am Rona.
Thank you so much, Mentor Allan. Mentor Jamie, and then probably Mentor Tina, and then I'll close our session for today.
Yes, para po sa lahat, again, sana araw-araw pag-ibig, no? Sa kumpanya natin. Lagi may compassion regardless nung na-encounter nating challenges because all of us, go through that. At yun lang kailangan natin bawat isa kasi nga may mga pagsubok. So kapag there are tough times at talagang some people really push you to the end, isipin nyo lang po, ayan, compassion. We have to give it, and because sometimes we might be also on the other receiving end. So yun lang yung iisipin natin. So with that, looking forward po, marami kayo natutunan sa amin, and thank you so much kay Coach Allan dahil ang dami-dami namin natutunan. It's a good reminder yung malasakit, diba? And looking forward to see all of you again next week sa ating HR Cafe. Yeah, thank you.
For me naman is compassion is a very tricky word because if you give too much, you look very unprofessional. But if you have too little, nobody wants to work for you and with you. So it has to be the tamang type of timpla for you to be successful and respected by everyone you work with. And I think a very good help is in making decisions is when you make a decision and when you interact with another person, you yourself have to be very sensitive in understanding what the other person is gunning for. Because everyone who approaches you with a request actually has an ulterior motive. And I find with many individuals in the Philippines, they always don't get to the point. Bago silang magre-request, babuelo pa muna. Ang dami mo na lang sasabihin just to set the stage. And then after that, magre-request. Kaya for me lang, management has a very big responsibility to actually set very strict rules and regulations from the very beginning of the employment and to make it clear to everyone what exactly those rules are instead of not leaving it all to chance and then making it bahala na depending kung sinong kausap on how compassionate management wants to become. Kasi for example, if you have rules and regulations, and you can make rules and regulations, that's your prerogative. but you make it all nakasulat doon yung conditions, nakasulat doon yung values mo, very clear sa tao ano yung stance ng company. I think everybody mawawala yung word of compassion in exchange with there is more of a respect for everyone, that everyone's following the same rules as everybody else. 'Di ba? Yun kasi yung nawawala minsan, na marami sa company sa Philippines ayaw magsulat. They don't make their rules very extensive, and they leave it to the powers of several individuals to make decisions. Kaya pag nagpapalit lagi ng management, marami na namang umaalis. Kasi pagpalit ng management, iba na naman yung rules. Pagpalit ng management, iba na naman yung rules. And people don't mind following the rules in the Philippines. They do mind when you change the rules that benefits you randomly, right? So if you make things very consistent and you give exceptions, then it makes it more acceptable to everyone. And for me, the rules of making exceptions are very clear. There's only one rule for me is if everyone listens to the reason, will they accept that reason or not? Unanimously. So for example, may nagtatanong sa akin ng emergency leave. Anong rason nila isasamahan daw yung tatay to do something? If I present that reason to everyone, will the other people in my organization accept that reason as an emergency leave or not? Kasi iba yung sasamahan yung tatay versus nabangga yung anak ng tricycle. I mean, kapag kunyari sinabi mo, nabangga yung anak niya sa tricycle or namatay yung kapatid niya, nagkaroon ng heart attack, 1,000% every single person in the organization will clamor over supporting that individual because they sincerely believe that individual requires assistance of everybody at that point in time. So I think my point is, number one, make it sure that your rules and regulations are quite clear. Do not be afraid to add in conditions so that everybody knows what the stance of the company is. And number two, when you do make exceptions to the rule, make sure that those exceptions are recognized and acknowledged by every single one of the people in the organization, so that you can be fair. And number three, make sure you also encourage every single person in the organization that if they do have that type of condition na emergency, ano yung gagawin din ng company for them. Hindi ibig sabihin tinanungan, kunyari magbibigay ka ng abuloy, magbibigay ka ng leaves, kung ano yung magbibigay mo sa isang tao, dapat ibigay mo din sa lahat. Even if hindi sila nag-request. It's not by request. It is the company policy na kapag may abulo, you give this much. If itong condition, you will do this one. It has to be automatic regardless on tenure, gender, identity, doesn't matter. And when that happens, I think like when people are respectful, there will no longer be much conflicts in the workplace based on people's subjective definition of compassion and empathy and sympathy. You remove all of that and everybody, tanggalin mo lahat yan. Ang matitira na lang, everyone is professional. Yon. So how about you, Mentor Rana, to end the show?
I agree with you 100%, Mentor Tina. Napakaganda nung pagsa-summarize mo nung naging discussion natin today. Ako palagi kong sinasabi na, number one, the values that you have, the corporate values that you have is very important. This is something that you should set right from the start. Bago pa lumaki yung company, bago pa kayo mag-start ng operations, dapat very clear ka, sa mga business owners, very clear kayo sa kung ano yung mga values that you're going to espouse, that you're going to encourage, and that you're going to adapt for the corporation. Kasi that will set the tone for everything. From what you hire, who you hire, how you do things, how you handle certain situations, it will set the tone for everything. Without those corporate values, without those MVOs, those mission visions, those objectives, tama yung sinabi ni Mentor Tina kaninang nang nag-start tayo sa session natin, it will go to all different directions, and alam mo yun, bawat isa will have their own definition. And pag ganun na wala kayong naset na values, even if you say na may malasakit kami, malasakit will now come in different forms, different definitions, different interpretations, and that will be a problem. Kasi malasakit for one may not be in the same manner or the same definition as somebody else's malasakit. So dun nagkakaroon ng gulo na we don't have these clear definitions of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And dito naman pumapasok yung mga policies, procedures ninyo, and even yung mga ano ninyo, yung mga corporate values. Hindi kayo maglalagay ng corporate values na sasabihin nyo lang na we have integrity, we value honesty. What does that mean to you? What do you mean by that? What's the behavioral indicator for that? You have to be very, very clear and you have to be fair. Clarity is ito yung nauuna in order to establish fairness. Kasi pag walang clarity, mahihirapan kayong establish yung fairness. So yun siguro yung mga mabibitawan ko na last words para sa ating audience for today. Ayan. Pero napakaganda ng ating pong topic ngayon kasi totoo naman na yung malasakit lalong-lalo na tamang implementation sa organization, malayo ang nararating yan. And companies do really grow if the people, the top management, all of the levels of the organization are on the same page on what malasakit looks like and really have malasakit for the organization. Yan. Okay, so isa na naman pong episode ang natapos dito sa HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhat Iba Pa. Thank you so much sa atin po mga manonood at para po sa mga team replay, huwag pong kalimutan puntahan ng atin pong Facebook page, HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhat Iba Pa, or sa Philippines HR Group, or ang ating pong YouTube channel. Hanapin niyo lang pong HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhat Iba Pa, para po, at Philippines HR Group, para po makita niyo po ang atin pong episode for today. But for now, thank you so much everyone for being with us. We'll see you again next Sunday para na naman sa isang episode ng HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhat Iba Pa. For now, thank you so much everyone and have a great Sunday. Bye po!